Solidarity member pledge. I will no longer be complicit in genocide. I stand in solidarity with African and oppressed peoples. I will no longer be complicit in genocide. I refuse to be silent. I will not look away while the police continue to shoot young African people down in the streets in cold blood. I will not hide behind convenient ignorance when the US-backed Israeli settler state rains down bombs upon the children, women, and men of occupied Palestine. I will not be silent while ICE tears Mexican and indigenous families apart, locks them up in cages, and brutally forces them off their own stolen land. I will not stand by as the US military launches drone strikes to massacre people in Africa and the Middle East. A new world is rising up. The oppressed and colonized peoples of the world, from North St. Louis to the Sahel, are fighting for their freedom. A line has been drawn. I will stand with humanity. I recognize that true solidarity with Palestine and anti-colonial struggles around the world begins with solidarity with African people colonized within the borders of the US. I will take the pledge of reparations to African people. I stand in solidarity with African and oppressed peoples. Uhuru.
Uhuru. Thank you, Kara. Thank you for reading that pledge. And that is the heart of the Days of Reparations to African People campaign, is the pledge of reparations to African people, which is not just a pledge in words, but a pledge to raise a minimum of $30,000 in material solidarity for the programs of Black Star Industries, the political and economic programs of the Uhuru movement, building the independent anti-colonial African working class economy to negate the colonial economy, to negate the colonial mode of production, which we'll be hearing a lot more about in the presentations to come. So we will be announcing pledges as they come in. There will be a section on the agenda for that later, but we want to let people know right now at the very beginning of this program that you can donate. You can donate or you can make a pledge. The Days of Reparations campaign goes until the end of October, but we encourage everybody who can to donate whatever you can today. Let's make this goal of $30,000. And if there is one person out there who can contribute, or even two or three, who can contribute $30,000 today, we call on you to go ahead and take that stand of reparations to African people. We know that there is social wealth in the white community as a consequence of the stolen resources of African people being systematically looted and hoarded in our communities for hundreds of years. And we know that when white people hear this positive message of unity through reparations, we can be inspired and empowered to take this stand, to turn over those resources, not as charity, but as reparations. And we know that for a fact, because last year we had a goal of $25,000 and the chairman came up to the mic and made the call to those of us watching to go ahead and have someone put in that full $25,000. And as we were getting to wrap up the appeal, we received a surprise announcement of an anonymous contribution of that amount. So we want to go even further than that this year, and we know that we can do that. And you can go to uhurusolidarity.org/pay-reparations to make your contribution online. You can also let us know in the chat if you would like to make a donation or a pledge, or you can email us if you want to be anonymous. You can email us at info@uhurusolidarity.org. And throughout the program today, we'll be announcing how much has come in to make this stand of reparations a reality. So we're going to be moving swiftly along now, and I just want to thank Kara again for reading that pledge and reiterate that the Days of Reparations to African People campaign is an annual campaign mandated by the Constitution of the African People's Socialist Party, which has been a part of the work of the African People's Solidarity Committee going back to 1979 in San Francisco with the first March Against Genocide. And every year since, it has been held as a way for those of us in the white community to express the deepest stand of genuine material solidarity with the African Revolution. It has never been more urgent for this stand to be taken by us than it is today. With this system in serious crisis, this is the time, this is the moment for white people to truly be a part of changing the world, truly be a part of fighting for genuine peace, which can only happen through justice and reparations for African people. So this is not a call for charity. It is a call for reparations, and it is a call that puts us in unity with all of the oppressed and colonized peoples of the world. So with that said, we have a dynamic program planned for you today. I can't overstate that this program is not just about learning. We will be learning a lot. This program is about doing. Once we know where we have to go, where our direction is, what understandings have to inform our practice, African internationalism is a theory of practice. So we will have theory, we will have practice today. And if we are successful, every single person who's tuned in today will have signed up by the end of this program to be a part of one or more teams that we are forming to make the Reparations Investment Company a concrete reality right away. The Deputy Chair has called on us to go ahead and stop talking about it, start doing it, start taking action. So that's what today's event is about. So Uhuru, so we're gonna go ahead and kind of shortening a little bit of what we had, Kara, just for the sake of moving things along. But we're gonna be, before we hear from our two keynote speakers, we're gonna take a look at a quick video about the history of the African People's Solidarity Committee. Next year, by the way, is the 50th anniversary. Around this time, September of next year, will be the celebration of 50 years of white solidarity with Black power under the leadership of that is profound beyond words. And I'm looking forward to really being able to sum that up, and so proud and humbled to have met this movement and to have had the opportunity to join the amazing legacy of white solidarity with Black power that the chairman and the party have made possible. So we're going to take a look at a video that was made actually about 3 years ago. So there's 3 years of history missing, but this gives you a kind of quick glimpse back at some of the theoretical understandings and struggles that led to the formation and continued existence and growth of the African People's Solidarity Committee. Uhuru.
For the past 50 years, the African People's Socialist Party has fought relentlessly to solve all the problems left by the US government's defeat of the Black Revolution of the 1960s. Chairman Omali Yeshitela has made sure that this time around, African people, led by the African working class, will be victorious in winning their liberation.
One of the critical questions the chairman had to solve was what to do about the white people. The chairman believed that through the scientific leadership of the African Working Class Party, white people could be won to genuine solidarity.
With his theory of African internationalism, Chairman Yeshitela has proved that Europe assaulted Africa, turned African human beings into commodities, the human machinery, the primitive accumulation, or first economic capital that founded and maintains the entire world system of colonial capitalism. The US stands on lands stolen from the indigenous people subjected to popular genocide carried out by white settler colonizers. The majority of the world was invaded, raped, and plundered for the benefit of a tiny percentage of the world's population in a cold, barren, northerly corner of the world, which became known as Europe.
Chairman Omali Yeshitela has scientifically proven that colonialism, the domination of a whole people by a foreign and alien state power, is the mode of production of the capitalist system. African people are colonized wherever they have been forcibly dispersed, including inside the colonial borders of the United States. All resources, goods, and services produced for white people under capitalism are irreversibly dependent on the suffering, exploitation, and theft from African and colonized peoples.
All white people are a part of the colonizer nation. The true working class of the world is made up of African and colonized workers. All white people who want to rectify our relationship to African people must be under the leadership of the African anti-colonial revolution.
The African People's Socialist Party created the African People's Solidarity Committee in 1976 to extend the African Revolution behind enemy lines. Among those present at the founding conference was Penny Hess, who later became the chair of APSC and who has led the work to build white solidarity with African liberation under the leadership of the party for the past 46 years. In the early days, most APSC members came to the organization new to political life. Many of us still identified with all the opportunist white movements that had gained prominence off the demise of the Black Revolution.
The party struggled relentlessly to win APSC to a principled stand of unity and reparations under its leadership. In the late 70s, the party moved its headquarters to the Oakland Bay Area. The party called the liberal, resource-rich Bay Area the party's mountain, a rear base for the African Revolution.
The party assigned APSC to build political and material solidarity for the party-led campaign to free Dusty Woods, smash colonial violence, and for the founding of the African National Prison Organization. This led APSC to create important solidarity institutions. In 1979, we built the Walk Against Genocide fundraiser through massive door-to-door campaigns and outreach in Oakland and Berkeley.
The Walk Against Genocide became an annual tradition, later known as the March for Reparations, which we still hold today. We began fundraising by selling food at street fairs such as the San Francisco Gay Pride event and other fairs in 1979.
In 1980, we built a holiday pie campaign, which became the early manifestation of Uhuru Foods and Pies, now under the leadership of Black Star Industries and the Office of Deputy Chair Onezene Yeshitela. While there was some good work taken on by APSC in the early years, the unity with the leadership of the party was tenuous.
In 1981, the party was forced to disband APSC after we tried to take control of a party printing institution that we rebranded as a women-owned business. APSC began to even question its existence under the party's leadership. The party seized direct oversight over the Solidarity movement. That same year, the party held its first Congress, where the chairman began to define white opportunism on the pedestal of African colonialism.
In 1982, the party launched the historic First Tribunal on Reparations to African People held in Brooklyn, New York. The tribunal was part of the strategy to make reparations a popular mass demand of the African working class. By 1984, the party was fully immersed in struggles in the name of the African working class in Oakland, California. This is the year that the party held the Oakland Summer Project and got 30,000 signatures putting Measure O, the Community Control of Housing Initiative, on the Oakland ballot.
The unity of APSC with the leadership of the party was forged in the crucible of the Oakland years. In 1985, struggle erupted inside of APSC. The question of the party's leadership over the white people and our responsibility to raise reparations came to a head.
The party won this struggle within APSC to abandon a charity stance in which we saw ourselves as a parallel organization. We united to become African internationalists, ready to go out into the white population and win reparations to African people as mandated by the party. The basis of our work would be material solidarity. Reparations would be our main focus. Ever since, our mantra has been white reparations to African people, understanding that all white people are part of the colonizer nation.
In 1987, APSC played a leading role in opening the party-led Uhuru Bakery Cafe and building Uhuru Foods and Pies and Uhuru Furniture, party institutions today. In 1990, APSC was asked to send organizers to Philadelphia, where the party was building after the city's terrorist bombing of the Move Collective, murdering 11 African children, women, and men.
In 1991, the party launched what would become the International People's Democratic Uhuru Movement and assigned APSC forces to build in Chicago. APSC members were also sent to St. Petersburg, Florida, the party's national headquarters, where in 1996, the party led the Battle of St. Petersburg, the massive African uprising following the police murder of 18-year-old Tyron Lewis.
In 2010, the party held its 5th Congress, and Deputy Chair Onezene Yeshitela was assigned to lead over all of the party's institutions. All economic work, previously coordinated by APSC, was brought under the office of the Deputy Chair. With her brilliant vision, these institutions have thrived and developed as part of the African working class power to govern. Many APSC members continue to have the honor of working in Uhuru Foods and Pies and the Uhuru Furniture stores under the direct leadership of Deputy Chair.
In 2014, Chairman Omali Yeshitela came to St. Louis in the wake of the uprising following the police murder of Mike Brown and began building the party and the International People's Democratic Uhuru movement. In 2017, Deputy Chair Onezene Yeshitela came to St. Louis and began brilliantly building the Black Power blueprint with properties on West Florissant Avenue on the North Side.
In 2017, the party ran candidates for office in St. Petersburg, Florida, including a member of APSC with the platform of Unity Through Reparations. Today, the headquarters of the African People's Socialist Party is at the Uhuru House, 4101 West Florissant in St. Louis. APSC's national headquarters is located in a party-owned building at 2654 Gravois in the white community.
APSC and the Uhuru Solidarity Movement are now located in 130 cities throughout the U.S. and continue to raise an ever-growing amount of resources based on winning white people to unity through reparations. There is so much more to say about the history of the African People's Solidarity Committee and its significance as a tool of the African Revolution.
This is the first time ever that white people have had the opportunity for the redemption of our colonial legacy. We can now join humanity under the leadership of the African working class. Chairman Omali Yeshitela has summed up that the theory of primitive accumulation, combined with our struggles to resolve the contradictions within the Solidarity movement, have led the African People's Socialist Party to understand that the structured relationship between the party and APSC is exactly correct.
We salute Chairman Omali Yeshitela, Deputy Chair Onezene Yeshitela, and the powerful leadership of the Vanguard Party of the African working class for giving white people the opportunity to join humanity and rectify our relationship to African people. We salute the African People's Solidarity Committee Chairwoman Penny Hess for her decades of unwavering unity with the anti-colonial African Revolution that sets the example for all white people who want to stand on the right side of history. The African Revolution is our revolution. Under the leadership of the African People's Socialist Party, we can be part of the future without the colonized and the colonizer, a future of socialism led by the African working class.
Uhuru. It's a beautiful video. I love seeing that, and to salute the party, the chairman, and the incredible history and ongoing work of the African People's Solidarity Committee under the leadership of the African People's Socialist Party. And before we turn it over, I turn it over to Kara to introduce our first speaker for today. I want to thank everybody who has been going to uhurusolidarity.org/pay-reparations and making their contributions, and thank Comrade Ann in Ecuador, longtime member of the Uhuru Solidarity Movement, for kicking us off with $100 towards our goal today of 30,000 Uhuru.
Woo!
And I also want to salute a comrade who has been a key part of the history of the African People's Solidarity Committee that we just heard about, and that's Janice Cant. We want to salute Janice.
Woo!
And Janice put in $500 today.
Right.
So we want to continue this momentum, continue to have people go to uhurusolidarity.org/pay-reparations, or let us know in the chat if you'd like to make a donation or a pledge of any amount. And again, we want to put out the call that if there's somebody out there who's ready to go ahead and put in $30,000, to go ahead and make it happen. Let's raise these reparations. Let's make this a reality. Let's make this the day of reparations to African people that it needs to be. So, and I can't even keep going because we're getting more donations. I want to salute the Secretary General, Allison Haney, who put in $200, Uhuru to SB Alley.
Uhuru.
and Comrade Kitty, who's in the room here as well, who put in $100. Uhuru.
And Maureen, I don't know if you saw that one. Put in 500. Yes.
$500.
Uhuru.
So shout out to the veterans of the African People's Solidarity Committee setting the standard right now for all of us. So we all want to be like that. We all want to go to uhurusolidarity.org/pay-reparations and make our contribution today. And I'll be announcing my pledge a little bit later. I'll keep that in my back pocket for now, but want to salute all the comrades who have already contributed, and shout out to our calculator, Comrade Amanda, who's adding things up. We'll continue to update you as we go through the program, but now we're very excited to move along to our first speaker today. And Kara, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Uhuru, thank you, Jesse. Yeah, that's amazing. Amazing already getting in those donations, getting in those reparations. So I have the honor of introducing actually one of the Uhuru three who stared down the colonial state in the midst of the multifaceted military attacks on the Uhuru movement. She has been a huge key member and leader of the African People's Solidarity Committee for 49 years, since 1976. Paving the way for all of us in the white community to stand in solidarity with African liberation under the leadership of the African People's Socialist Party. This is Penny Hess, Chairwoman of the African People's Solidarity Committee, the organization of white people working under the leadership of the African People's Socialist Party. She's also the author of the Overturning the Culture of Violence. Penny is one of the Uhuru three, as I said, and she helped defeat the bogus charges and faced up to 15 years in prison for fighting for reparations to African people. Penny Hess.
Thank you, Kara, and I'm very, very honored to be here today. I want to welcome everybody that's here. I'm glad we had that video because people can see a little bit about the process, the struggle it took to organize and to win the African People's Solidarity Committee, to understand what it meant, first of all, to work under the leadership of the African People's Socialist Party, to take up our responsibility to go into the white community, to organize other white people, and to fight for, in theory and practice, the meaning of reparations to African people, to actually do that and raise resources and win it politically in the world, which is, it took a while, but we got there in a pretty good way. And I think that, Chairman, it's been an incredible honor to be under your leadership for all of these years. I can't even say what it means to me personally, to know that we can, as white people, truly make our self-criticism to the peoples of the world, to African people, to rectify our relationship, because white people have had a very, very hideous, violent, terroristic relationship to African people. And so this is part of why, oh, I'm sorry, I forgot my book. If somebody could hand it to me, the Overturning the Culture of Violence. One of the reasons that we wrote that is because of, we have to document what white people did. This goes through. And this is, I mean, there could be, volume 2, 3, 4, and 5 of this. And, we have to look at our history. We have to look at our true history, and there's been a lot in the news right now about the question of, quote, political violence. Well, this whole system is built on colonial violence, true political violence, that is beyond anything that the world had experienced before. And as we understand now that there weren't even words for what white people have done to African people, to from the lynchings to, the genocide of the indigenous people, to every possible way that we have imposed and carried out colonialism and colonial violence. And that we can now, for the first time in history, under the leadership of the party and Chairman Omali Yeshitela and Deputy Chair Yeshitela, we have the ability to stand on the forward side of history. The chairman will always say you have to jump off that pedestal upon which we sit on the backs of African oppressed people and join the majority of humanity in doing that. And it is incredibly liberating to be able to be part of this movement. And it's something that millions of white people everywhere are looking for these answers, and we have to, keep fighting to get the word out. And I really salute the march yesterday. It was very powerful. It was very exuberant to be there, to be out there marching, to see the cars that are honking, that people are expressing their support and unity with this. So that is very it was a great day, just want to say, as always. And I was trying to, was that our 49th year? I need to do the math on that, but how many we have done this. We have done this march in Oakland, Philadelphia, St. Petersburg, here in St. Louis, and I believe San Diego, and a few other places as well. Somebody said something, I don't know. And so I just wanted to say that it is something, as was said, is in the Constitution of the African People's Solidarity Committee and the African People's Socialist Party, that this is a key part of our work. And it is not just a march, it is a fundraiser raising reparations as well. I also wanted to salute the Burning Spear, as always, and urge North Americans to get an issue or to subscribe to the Burning Spear. And I just wanted to say something quickly about the cover story, how Chairman Omali Yeshitela made colonialism a household word. And this is really, really important, because, well, I'll just read what this is written by Mariah Bond, who is, I think, part of the Burning Spear team, and under the leadership of Director Akile Anai. They have an amazing agitprop committee. But it says on here that in the 21st century, terms like colonialism, systemic oppression, and anti-Blackness have become increasingly prevalent in academic media and activist circles. However, you acknowledge the intellectual origins of this analytical framework regarding the lived reality of African people around the world. This paper contends that Chairman Omali Yeshitela, founder and leader of the African People's Socialist Party, has made foundational contributions to this discourse. It's very academic, but this is a really good point. And that the chairman developed the political theory that is a theory of practice. It is not a theory that we just talk about in the abstract. If you understand and articulate this theory, you have to attribute it to Chairman Omali Yeshitela, number one. And number two, if you believe it, you have to join organization under the leadership of the party. And so, yeah, so it's saying that African internationalism fundamentally challenges the liberal frameworks by asserting that African people are not a racial minority, but a colonized nation whose forced dispersal across continents due to slavery and colonialism laid the groundwork for modern capitalism. In other words, is the DNA of the system that we live in. And that, so it goes on to say this, but I do want to unite with what this is saying, that this understanding came from Chairman Omali Yeshitela. It is not something that anybody can put out and not attribute that, because nobody else says this. Nobody has said this. The chairman was the first. He introduced the concept of colonialism inside the borders of the United States, the colonization of African people around the world, and the fight against racism, how the struggle is not against racism, the ideas in white people's heads, but it is against the system that white people too have an interest in overturning. And that also, that it is the colonized African, indigenous, and we see the Palestinian colonized by the US-backed state of Israel, are the leading forces in all progressive change in the world today and now. So that even if we look at the fight for white women, the fight for LGBTQ, that came from the leadership of the African liberation movement in the 1960s. The concept of pride that, you know, we see here, the pride connected to the LGBTQ, that came from the leadership of the African Revolution. And I think that, you know, we look at, okay, here's this guy, Kirk, whatever, that what he represented was exactly the opposite of what this is. This is fighting for the movements and so that there would be, as the chairman said, a system without the oppressors and the oppressed on every level. So the chairman was the one who popularized the understanding of colonialism and popularized, and then the chairman had a goal. He had a goal in 1980, 81, to make the word reparations a household word. In the early days of the African People Solidarity Committee, the chairman would send us out into the white community. We'd be talking about reparations, and people would say, excuse me, what does reparations mean? I mean, people had never heard of the word, they didn't know what it meant. But when I get a little Google search every day for the word reparations in French and English, and it's about 20 entries a day somewhere, someplace. In fact, the African Union, which I'll show, just adopted reparations to African people this year, 2025. And no, this is not the revolutionary movement that the chairman is talking about, but what he's saying is it took it back and gave it to the African working class. And so this is what the chairman has done and a little bit of what he has done. So I'm just going to go through. Are people seeing that now?
Yes. Okay.
I'm not able to see where we are. So I am on number 2. Watch out. Watch out. That's a big. When it falls, it's going to be like a miracle. Okay, so, all right. So again, we salute the days of reparations to African people. I think that we've had these since, I believe, 1979, maybe 1978, starting out in Oakland, and have, with a few exceptions, had it every year since then. And this has been very, very important. And now it is in the Constitution. It is constitutionally mandated for the African People Solidarity Committee to hold this. And again, I want to salute Chairman Omali Yeshitela, the chairman who made reparations and colonialism household words to understand. You know, I'll just go through this and I'll say more about it. I want to salute Deputy Chair Yeshitela, who has taken the whole struggle for dual and contending power, which is something that the party, the chairman, has always put out, and made this a reality. And we see it on every front where the party is, because there's the Burning Spear newspaper, there's Black Power 96 radio station, there's many other things, there's the Uhuru houses here, but now we have this incredible building of Black Power blueprint in right up on West Florissant, which is brilliant and incredibly unique. There is nothing else like this in the world. The next slide. So we are currently celebrating, and we just did, I was on a tour earlier in May on the West Coast, and really want to thank Kara and Wendy and others who helped build that. But this is the 20th anniversary of this book, Overturning the Culture of Violence, in which we documented what white people have done, some of what the crimes of white people, and how we can go forward, and why we must embrace the stand of reparations under the leadership of the party. And it was, it was really great. We went to San Jose, Oakland, and San Francisco, and had events there. And this is something that is almost more relevant in a lot of ways than even when it was, when the book was published in early 2000s. So, the chairman, that African people, the culture, Overturning the Culture of Violence, puts forward Chairman Omali Yeshitela's political theory of African internationalism. As I said, it is a theory of practice. And this political understanding, again, belongs to the African People's Socialist Party, and it requires action. It is not something that is there for just to talk about it. And it's based on the understanding. Next, I'm on number 7. I'm not sure which one you're on. Okay, yeah, thank you, Brendan. And the stolen labor, wealth, and resources of African people birthed capitalism, the cornerstone of the social system that we live in, and that is parasitic, as the chairman said. There is nothing. There was nothing positive. There was nothing benign about the formation of capitalism. This is very, very important. And that, next slide, the colonialism is the domination of a whole people by a foreign and alien state power and people for profit. This is how the party defines the question of colonialism, when a whole people go in to take over another people for profit and crush their ability to lead and have self-determination over their own people. Next slide. Colonialism, the chairman says, as the mode of production. And a mode of production defines how goods and services are produced. And in a society, how do people come together collectively to produce what is needed for the society? Do they come together as an owner, like in capitalism? But that this understanding of colonialism defines, this reality of colonialism defines all of life and how we think and what we aspire to. So this is like the superstructure of the society of colonialism. Next slide. The US has never admitted its unspeakable crimes that were committed by white people against African people. The US has never made an apology. It's never nothing like that. It's never even cited this fact. Next slide. The African People's Solidarity Committee and the Uhuru movement. This is how the party gets the word out. This is one way in the white community to win the understanding that colonialism is a mode of production, that we must stand under the leadership of African people, and we must pay reparations to African people. And this is a great picture, so you can be proud of being part of that. And next slide, all white people sit on the pedestal of the exploitation of African people. That was something that we had to go through to show, because people wanted to exclude, well, I'm Jewish, or I'm from the working class white community. But the reality, as the chairman has shown very, very clearly and scientifically, all white people stood on the pedestal of the oppression of African people, from the bourgeoisie to the white working class. In fact, as the chairman said, the white working class was formed by this process, because before that, there was feudalism. There was no such thing as white workers. And next slide, 13, Trump, currently the US government is telling this history. That's one of the things that Trump has said, they're not going to be able to talk about this. I saw something, I think Deputy Chair had sent it out, a video of a PowerPoint that was put out by the Smithsonian Institute that looked exactly very close to the kind of PowerPoints that we put out. But you know, this is something that may be banned. This may be, you know, this is why the chairman has fought for anti-colonial free speech, and we have to continue to fight for that. But because USM and APSC are here under the leadership of the party in 130 cities, it's too late. It's too late. They cannot put that genie back in the bottle. There is the African People's Socialist Party. There is the Uhuru Solidarity Movement and APSC. So just to say, just to use this as an example, I'm on number 14, that reparations. So here's one of the things that Germany paid reparations to Jews. They paid at least $95 billion to Jews for, quote, moral and material indemnity for unspeakable crimes committed in the name of the Jewish people, to individual Jews and to the state of Israel. And, you know, 95 billion, the US has done nothing, and only, you know, and this is to, you know, to white people. But the whole foundation, there wouldn't be, there is a secret there. Uhuru Gregory. Without the genocide, what is called the chairman calls it the fratricide of Jews, because it's white people killing other white people in Europe, but that rests on a foundation of real genocide committed by Europeans all throughout Africa, all throughout the Americas, which is never acknowledged and of which no reparations are ever paid. So I just wanted to say a little bit about just some examples of what I was supposed to say, like how much is owed. Basically everything is owed, but I'm going to go through just some examples. Here in St. Louis, there was something called Lynch's Slave Pens. And I do note that the Solidarity Center is between the streets of Lynch Street and Texas Street. So we are on the corner. Yes, there you go, Chairman. It is redundant. And that here in St. Louis, African people, there's different. Okay, let me just say first of all, these Lynch's slave pens this is where African people were kept here in St. Louis. Under St. Louis, there are 60 caves. 60 caves. That's why everything is always sinkholes and we're always sinking down. There's caves under here, and that African people used the caves for the Underground Railroad, but also the Lynch's slave pens were under the ground, and they're under where Bush Stadium is right now. And there's no plaque or there's nothing that even says that. And that African people were also sold on the steps of the old courthouse, and that was called the sheriff's sale. Now, the thing about the African people that were sold on the steps of City Hall, of the old courthouse, where the Dred Scott exhibit was, and where some of us went. Some people went when we went down there as part of the summer intensive to see the Dred Scott exhibit. That the African people that were sold on the steps of the courthouse were, what do you call that? When their owners went into foreclosure, they were repossessed. They were repossessed because the regular sales were at the Lynch's slave pens. this is the repossessed. And it says that. That's what the sheriff's sale. Deputy chair goes to the sheriff's department for the sheriff's sale for repossessed property. Well, this is the original thing. This is the original repossessed property. Was African people that was part of the sheriff's sale. And the St. Louis Arch is a symbol of genocide and manifest destiny, genocide of the indigenous people. This is what this, this arch that's put up here. And then right across, basically from the arch, and then in front of the old courthouse is the statue of Dred and Harriet Scott. And I do want to say that I do appreciate knowing the history of St. Louis, because on the one hand, just the terror, the colonial terror that has attacked African people over and over again, but also on the other side is all of the just the incredible fight that African people have made to build the institutions, to build the neighborhoods like Mill Creek Valley, and just whole neighborhoods, to be able to have control over their lives over and over again, and what the city has done. So when Dred and Harriet Scott appealed, they went to, I think it's 5 or 7 appeals. And in the old courthouse, you can see the courtroom where some of the decisions were made. It's set up as it was then. But when they appealed for their freedom, this was in I think the first time was in 1847, and I think it was finally resolved in 1857. So it was before the Civil War, and it's saying that this struggle of Dred and Harriet Scott was something that led to the Civil War, to this war that between the various factors of the white ruling class for control of colonialism, of the colonized people. But it was ruled by the Supreme Court that African people are not citizens and have no rights a white person has to respect. So that is really the famous Dred Scott decision. And there's a picture of them. There's a statue, a beautiful statue of them out in front of the old courthouse, and we went down there. But I do believe that one of these days there will be a statue of the Chairman Omali Yeshitela, and Deputy Chair next to that, because what the African People's Socialist Party and the Chairman and Deputy Chair are struggling for is the same thing. It is the continuation of the same struggle. For African people to have power and self-determination over their lives. And it's really powerful. It's really an honor. And it can be to me, it's very emotional to have the ability to be here, where, to think about all of the thousands of African people who have fought for over 200 years or more, right on these same streets that we walk down, that we drive down, they walk down. And this struggle is still going on, and we can be part of it, and we can watch it unfolding with the Black Power Blueprint. Under the leadership and fighting for reparations. The next slide. So this is another monument that is out there in front, I think, or in back of the old courthouse. There were, besides Dred and Harriet Scott, there were 250 freedom suits that were filed in court in St. Louis between the years 1814 and 1860. And it said, I don't have a total record of how many were granted, but I think most of them, or at least half of them, were not granted. Next slide. Also, something that we put out a lot, that African people are buried under Wall Street. that there was a, African people lived on what is Wall Street, and that there is a monument there, but it just is so telling that Wall Street, the financial capital of the US and really the world of the parasitic capitalist system, is built literally on the bones of African people under the ground of those Wall Street giant buildings that are there. Next slide. The victory of the Haiti Revolution in 1804, and African people named it after their revolution, after an indigenous people, the Haiti people who lived in the islands. And African people of Haiti were forced to pay $90 billion in pure gold over 100 years to France. They had to pay it to France for reparations for the quote lost property of African people that they owned. So when Haiti won its revolution, they were forced to pay all of their wealth, $90 billion, to France, who had been their colonizers. And the US enforced that and sent the Marines into Haiti to make sure that that was going to happen. And then they set up the neo-colonialists, the Papa Doc, Baby Doc, that were, continuing to steal the wealth of Haiti. And Haiti had been known as the Pearl of the Antilles. That's the name of the islands. It was the most incredible place, and now it has the greatest poverty of any country basically in the Western Hemisphere. So number 23, the African community. There is an African community buried under Central Park in New York City as well, and it was called Seneca Village, and it was founded in 1825 by John and Elizabeth Whitehead. And again, they consciously named it after the indigenous leader Seneca, who was a great orator for liberation for the indigenous and African people. So just that unity of African and indigenous people that the party embodies so much has always been there. And then of course there was Black Wall Street, Tulsa, Oklahoma, that has the mayor for the first time has said that they were going to grant $105 million in reparations, which is really nothing for what the Black Wall Street was. It was burnt down by white mobs in 1921. It was a thriving place. It had businesses, it had financial institutions, banks, investment houses, all of this. It was an incredible place. And you can see from these pictures that it was quite a lengthy area. It was a big area, and white people brought planes and firebombed it, and basically, put a torch to burn that down. Next slide. Also, we're talking about what is owed. Hands off Uhuru. The attack on the chairman, lawsuits to the US government, the DOJ, the FBI for the attack on the chairman, and the Uhuru movement for raids and bogus charges. I don't know what will be demanded, but they're going to get sued. Reparations for attacks on the Uhuru Bakery Cafe. For what was it? They kept it closed for months, and it lost. There's a financial amount. 30,000 was lost. So just on that, plus damages and all the things that you get with lawsuits. And just next slide, the wealth gap from Jim Crow laws alone still exists today. The Brookings Institute estimated in 2020 that it would take at least $12 trillion to begin to close the wealth gap between Africans and North Americans. And I know that here in St. Louis, white people, the average white, this is according to, I think, either the Brookings Institute or the Federal Reserve Bank, the average white person, family, has $800,000 more in wealth than the average African family right here, right now. And that, and that is meaning the value of the house, the value of the property, the value of their savings account, the value, all of these things that white families have. Next slide. Also, convict leasing built the wealth of the South, rebuilt it after the Civil War. 73% after the economy of the South was destroyed during the Civil War, 73% of its wealth was rebuilt through the state owning African people and leasing them out for hard labor that rebuilt Alabama, Louisiana, Mississippi, etc. And today, the African, I want to show this. I couldn't figure out how to do it, but this is the African Union today said that their theme for 2025, and this is their logo, Chairman, demand justice and reparations for Africans and diaspora. Reparations now, repair harm, enact reparations. That is graphically, politically, and organizationally based on everything that the chairman has fought for. And let me get back to where I was here. Germany finally admitted, I think in a few years ago, that it did commit genocide to African people in Namibia, which it wiped out. It took 3 different peoples in Namibia, which is Southwest Africa, right next to South Africa, and forced them into the desert to basically, with no food and no water. And people, you could just hideous, torturous death that they, in fact, the Nazis used this kind of thing as models for what they did. And the people of Namibia, the Africans, had come to the World Court, I believe, and fought for reparations, that reparations had to be acknowledged and had to be given. And it was, finally, I think that a panel from the United Nations said that they agreed, or maybe it was Germany, I'm sorry, it was the state of Germany agreed to pay $1.2 billion, which the government of Namibia is rejecting. I mean, that they left, and there's videos of this. They went to Germany, they went to the parliament, and etc., and they left. They stormed out of it because it was incredibly insulting. Next slide. And in 1415, impoverished Europe launched an assault from Portugal to West Africa. During that assault, Portugal stole 13,000 tons of gold from Africa, at least. And that is an estimate of, and it said that would be the equivalent of 130,000 kilos of gold. And that, as of course, was stolen from Africa in the period of the colonial plunder. Today, next slide, Portugal still has one of the largest reserves of gold in the world, 383 tons, worth 12.1 billion euros. It still has that gold in their coffers. Next slide. The kidnapping, sale, stolen labor of African people over 200 years brought at least $7.5 trillion, pounds, or $9.8 trillion into the British economy. That money is still there. It's still the Fleet Street, the financial district of, it's called the City of London, is just the wealthiest, probably the wealthiest institution in the world. Next slide. The Dutch Stock Exchange was established in 1602 by the Dutch East India Company based on trade in African people. the Dutch could invest, trade futures, and stock options and play the market just like today. So this whole thing of, you know, investing your money and watching it grow in the stock market started with, in 1602, with the Dutch East India Company that was going out and kidnapping and stealing African people. And just, I'm going to go through this, you know, pretty quickly. I don't want to go over my time, or maybe I am, but, you know, Wall Street, the World Reparations, I'm on number 37. The World Reparations and Reconciliation Commission of Ghana charges Africa is owed $777 trillion in damage by European powers. Next slide. 50% of all kidnapped Africans were enslaved on Caribbean sugar plantations, which provided Europe with 90% of its sugar, which was one of its biggest commodities. Next slide. More riches flowed to Britain from the slave economy of Jamaican sugar plantations than all the original American 13 colonies combined. Next slide, everybody ate sugar. Next slide. And when Britain outlawed chattel slavery in 1838, it paid $20 billion in reparations to 46,000 British and Scottish slave owners for the loss of their property, nearly 800,000 enslaved African people. So this $20 billion that Britain had, that was all stolen from African people to begin with, were paid to the slave owners. And the I'm going to go to slide 43. The stolen land, the land mass of the US is stolen from the indigenous people, estimated today to be worth $23 trillion. And yet indigenous people are the most impoverished sector of the US economy. And this is a really important fact. In next slide, in the US in 1860 alone, 4 million enslaved African people in the US were worth $3.5 billion. It was the largest single financial asset in the entire US economy. So all of the land of the US at that time, all of the banks, all of the institutions, all the money, nothing was as valuable as the African people who were enslaved, that commodity to the US economy. And so, yeah, we know the London Stock Exchange is based on that. Lloyd's of London financed the slave ships. In the US, the enslavement of African people built the entire economy. And I'm just gonna go on to, the cotton trade between New York City. People think of it as the South. The New York and the North was completely linked to the economy of the South. The cotton trade between New York City and the southern states was worth $200 million alone. After the trade in African people was banned in 1808, the US began to force African women and men to breed in slave pens and made more money selling African children that were born of that than ever before. African people were forced in coffles, which is, you know, they were handcuffed side by side and forced to march from places like St. Louis to Louisiana. So this is just more. This has more, and we can have more events on this. I want it to go to. It's just you could never stop. I mean, there's so much information. The private prison industry, $5 billion a year. The stealing of African children is $9 billion industry in the US, the CPS. Intellectual property, we can't even begin, like the intellectual property, that's not even being thought of, like all the music, all the art, all of the every way that the brilliance and genius of African people has been stolen, and others like the Rolling Stones made billions of dollars off of African people who died in poverty. So, and the reality is the basis of the contradictions of the violence of the world today. So we owe everything. Let's start with $30,000 for our pledge by the end of October. And just really want to salute the Reparations Legacy Project, the Reparations Investment Company. We want to really build this something everybody can be part of, to be part of this incredible effort to pay reparations, to join the forward side of history, make our self-criticism, and begin to have principled relationship with African people who are building political and economic power in their own hands. Uhuru.
Uhuru. Thank you, Chairwoman Penny Hess. Let's give another round of applause.
Uhuru. Uhuru. That was that was amazing. Thank you so much, Chairwoman Penny Hess, for sharing that true history of white colonialism, of African and Indigenous people, including St. Louis's significance to slavery.
Yes.
And just the continued colonialism that we see today, points all to our duty and responsibility that we owe reparations. And with that said, I would love to talk about how we've already raised $6,600 so far in reparations. Uhuru. I'd love to shout out Janine for 150. Ruby, Uhuru Janine. Ruby 200. Oh, yes.
I'm sorry, I can't see.
Can you hear us here?
I wanted to say I want to put in 500.
Uhuru. Yes.
And Sarah, I just want to say that Comrade Ruby put in $200. Uhuru, Ruby.
Uhuru.
And we also have Jan, amazing comrade Jan, who's in the building with us today, who has pledged to raise from eBay sales, and she's already doing this and done an amazing job. $1,200. Uhuru. She's amazing. Absolutely. Go ahead, Kara.
Oh, yes. Okay. And Comrade Susan Mortimer in Boston, $100. Uhuru. Johan, our dear comrade Johan, $500. Uhuru. Leah in Minneapolis, $1,500. Uhuru. That's what we have so far. And I will be announcing my pledge later as well.
Okay, all right. Well, we look forward to that, Kara. And I also wanted to salute, we're going to see some pictures from this later, but I know we want to keep the program moving. But I did want to salute the comrades in St. Petersburg, Florida, led by Jamie Simpson, Comrade Johan Bedingfield, as well as Gemini, Eliza, and Ryan, who are members of the USM St. Pete branch and recently held an amazing benefit show as part of this pledge that raised $1,500. So that goes towards the pledge today.
Salute Comrade Jamie. He's just been doing dynamic work. I really just truly salute him and all the comrades that are out there in St. Pete.
Definitely.
Building USM.
So I believe where we're at right now with Chairwoman Penny's 500 is $7,100. So let's keep it going. I think seeing that presentation that we just saw really puts $30,000 in context. Everything is owed to African people. One person can go in and put in that $30,000. You can go to uhurusolidarity.org/pay-reparations. If you want to do it by check or some other form of contributing it, you can contact us at info@uhurusolidarity.org. Let us know if you want it to be anonymous. But if one person can do that, if 3 people can do $10,000 each, we can surpass this goal today of reparations to African people. So at this point, it is my great honor to bring up our next speaker, our leadership, the leader of the Uhuru movement, the creator of the theory of African internationalism, who rebuilt the African Revolution following its military defeat in the 1960s, who made reparations a household word, who made reparations a reality, who made colonialism a household word, and who showed all white people how we can truly stand in solidarity with the African Revolution and join humanity under the leadership of the African working class. We are so honored to have with us today Chairman Omali Yeshitela.
Uhuru.
Uhuru, comrades. First, I would like to really express my appreciation to everyone. I especially want to acknowledge Comrade Onizene Yeshitela. Whose work defines much of what it is that we're talking about today. I want to also salute comrades Penny Hess, who's been here for a while in terms of this movement. I remember meeting Comrade Penny Hess in Louisville, Kentucky, which is a statement not only about Penny, but about how we have moved throughout this country and the world, carrying this message and organizing and what have you. And this has been going on for more than 60 years. Comrade Jesse Nevel, who has been an amazing contributor to the development of our movement with the Uhuru Solidarity Movement, and putting us in so many different places throughout this country, and all of the Central Committee of African People's Solidarity Committee and the Uhuru Solidarity Movement. I know you, Kara, as well. I think that, and also Comrade Jesse Todd.
Yeah.
Who in so many ways opened the door for everything that we're doing here in St. Louis.
Yes. Yeah.
Not only because of his welcome and almost immediate solidarity with the African People's Socialist Party, the advanced detachment, the Uhuru movement, etc., but for the work he had been doing here in this city for years and years and years. All of that contributed to opening the door. And so I just want to acknowledge Comrade Jesse Todd, who as an older person here, became a lifetime member of the International People's Democratic Uhuru movement, even when leaders of the government were looking at us strangely and threateningly. So I wanted to make that acknowledgement. And also, I had desired to be on that march and at the rally on yesterday, but I did not do that because people who are associated with the security process in our movement stated that they thought it would be a problem for me. And this was especially true after the September 11th assassination of Charlie Kirk in Utah. And the thing that made that significant is the fact that it was something that highlighted the fact that political violence is something that is increasingly acceptable in this country. That more and more you see people who are willing to engage in political violence and that it is not only that it's generally acceptable, but it's something that the leaders of this country also promote and give a vindication for it. So that's the thing that made it significant. And I'm not quite sure if I'll not come to another event based on that. But immediately after that, that was an issue. I wanted to say that that something is happening here that we need to understand, even the ruling class. I was looking at just yesterday from Foreign Affairs, which is a journal of the ruling class in this country, was something that even Lenin has written for it, if I'm not mistaken. Certainly he has read it. And W.E. Du Bois has written for it. It's a ruling class journal. It's the means by which the thinking representative of the colonial powers in the world share their ideas and promote the way forward for the social system itself. It's faced with a dilemma, even foreign affairs, just as the whole social system is faced with a dilemma. But in an article from 2024, it talked about how violence is becoming the Foreign Affairs Journal, as I mentioned, is a journal of thinking representatives of the ruling class. There are people in this room and in this meeting, I'm sure, who are familiar with Machiavelli. Machiavelli, of course, was someone who wrote the thing called The Prince. And he was one of people of that era who wrote and tried to influence the leaders. I think it was the Medici. Was it Medici? Yes. It tried to influence them. And he wrote this thing called The Prince. Well, there are people who are engaged in this kind of work right now. People who we know of like Brzezinski, people who we know of like Kissinger, and others. They write to provide leadership. These are thinking representative of the ruling class that we're talking about. That's their job, to think and to provide ideas and suggestions about how the social system can carry out its mission for continuing domination of the world. And this was something that was initiated primarily by the Rockefellers. The Rockefellers were central to this foreign affairs and to the creation of this entity that was called the Trilateral Commission or the Trilateral Committee. It's either committee or commission. And the Trilateral, Europe, America, and Japan, I think, constituted the Trilateral, the relationships. These are the colonial powers. And so I wanted to say that this article deals with the growing acceptance of violence, political violence here inside this country. And I just want to share just a couple of excerpts. They're not that long. The writer is somebody who is also engaged in doing work, polling and stuff like that to build his political conclusions and strategy around. He says that according to new research carried out by my team at the University of Chicago, tens of millions of Democrats, Republicans, and independents believe that political violence is acceptable. So it's just general unity with political violence. Many of them hail from the middle and upper class with nice homes and college education. The country's fight over its national identity, this is what he ascribes much of this being about. the fight over the national identity of the country. The country's fight over its national identity has multiple dimensions, but the most serious is demographic change. In 1990, 76% of the US population identified as white. In 2023, the US Census Bureau put that figure at a little over 58%. A decade later, by 2035, the share is set to fall to 54%. A decade later, it will dip below 50%. These changes have led to rising anger among conservatives, many of whom see increased ethnic so-called diversity as an essential existential threat to their way of life. So here you got, you will not, what did it say? This whole notion of disappear us or replace us kind of thing. This whole thing of replacement theory. Actually, well, I was going to make a horrible joke, and my wife really doesn't like for me to make jokes like this. These voters have embraced Trump and his nationalist movement, which promised to stop such change in its tracks. Trump's exclusionary policies and rhetoric have in turn prompted a ferocious backlash from liberals. I haven't seen that yet, but who embrace demographic change, or who at least fear that conservative success will cost Americans hard-won freedoms. So this whole notion of disappearance is a real critical thing. I remember having Huey P. Newton many years ago at an event that we did, maybe 85. He was killed in 89, wasn't he? So we had him at the Uhuru House before he was killed. And he was talking about, he was talking about how the white people in general, and he said he may have got this from a discussion with his older brother, was having a problem because of disappearing. And as you know, in 2019 or 2020, at this meeting where was this in Germany? They meet annually. Say it again. Okay. Say it again. Munich conference, where the bigwigs, you don't get invitations to this. But prime ministers, presidents, really serious people, Zuckerberg was there, all kinds of people. And they raised the question at this meeting then, and I reported on in a meeting perhaps similar to this. They talked about approaching Westlessness, the disappearance of the West. So this thing that they like to attribute to right-wing crazies about the replacement theory, they're talking about this in Munich among the most significant forces who are determining the future of the world. That's what they come there on a regular basis to do. Westlessness. And when they say westlessness, they include in Australia, the Netherlands, Canada, they include, it's whitelessness is what they're really talking about. And I just think that's really important that this has been a central issue that they've been dealing with for a long time. And even if it's not addressed as we are addressing it now, it's been there. It's been part of the reason that people have bombed abortion clinics, killed abortion doctors, threatened and to put women back in chains so that you can keep making white babies. Because a fundamental contradiction, an aspect of this contradiction, is that white women are not having enough babies to even keep the white population at the level that it's at right now. That's not just in the United States, that's throughout Europe. So you see a decline in the white population. And it seems like, I'm about to tell another joke. My wife is shaking her head because she knows that it's not going to be a good joke. So just another brief quote, excerpt from this. This is from Foreign Affairs, and people should look at it. I sort of keep up with stuff that's happening in it because they try to make predictions on how the world is moving. The last thing that I have, they talked about how the committee to run the world. This is what they got on the lead article is the committee to run the world. And on this committee to run the world, they have pictures or of Trump sort of on top. And then they have Putin on one side and Xi from China on the other side. So this is the committee to run the world. This is how they're considering things. They see the world as something that's going to be governed, led by these forces. The people have no role in it. They don't even mention Africa. They don't even consider Africa as a factor in this at all. So this is how they think. This is how they see the world. And of course, this is the Achilles heel, if you can accept that characterization. So the anger on both sides is in keeping with historical precedents. Scholars have long understood that Scholars have long understood that social change and demographic shifts are potent catalysts for violence. And as elsewhere, even that's a mischaracterization of the contradiction. By whom? Potent catalysts for, they don't say that Black people are going to rise up because the population shift that's happening in this country. Look out for the Mexicans and what have you because of the population shift. No. What they're talking about is white people, colonizers, having a problem. So they said, and as elsewhere, the turn toward force in the United States is fundamentally populist in nature. The millions of Americans who support political violence have concluded that their country's elites are so thoroughly corrupt and that their democracy is so completely broken that riots, political assassinations, and coercive attacks are acceptable and even necessary to bring about the supposedly genuine democracy that people deserve. This kind of thinking is endemic to all kinds of populist movements in which people angrily latch onto a political leader, party, or movement to overcome the so-called establishment. I think it's really important because it is true. There's an aspect of truth contained in what they are defining here. Because usually it is not unusual for African people to conclude the system does not serve us. That's from the very beginning, that's what Nat Turner was about. That's what getting away from slavery was all about. This stuff is not for us. And so breaking from that has been that's what we're looking at when we saw the pictures of Haiti and the history there. This doesn't serve us. So you see Africans in Haiti breaking free from that, but you see French, who are the colonizers, demanding to be paid for Africans trying to break free. So this is something that oppressed people in these societies have concluded a long time ago, which is a statement about the significance of the movement of Marcus Garvey. Marcus Garvey started his organization in 1914. And how many years after the legal end of slavery was that? That means, come on, calculator. The 1865 is when slavery was officially over. So by 1914, you have Garvey out of Jamaica. And then he comes to this country, I think in 19, no, earlier than that. But he comes to this country, builds this extraordinary movement of millions of African people from around the world who are saying this system does not serve us. And so they are declaring Africa for Africans at home and abroad. Africans for Africans everywhere on the planet Earth. Africa is our solution. And he began to build institutions that would negate the capacity of the colonizers wherever we were located to control us. That's why we had steamship lines, had factories. We had our own dolls and recording studios, all kinds of things. This is a negation of colonial power. And this is why they framed up Garvey, and who had got a steamship line, and said that he broke the law because somehow he used the mail to defraud the public because he sold stock to African people for this steamship line. So there's this history, a tradition of African people doing that. There is some history and tradition of white people trying to break free from the system too at different times. Civil War was one example of that. And there are other instances when that happened. But in recent history, it has not been so prevalent, even though you've got gangs of thugs running around in military fatigues and stuff like that and training. You saw them when Obama was running for office, sometimes coming to campaign rallies carrying weapons and things like that. You saw all of that. So there is something that was happening among white people too. But now, they have been without a general leadership up until now. That is recently. Now we see Trump, who provides the general leadership. The president of the United States is providing general leadership for white thugs and mobsters and white people who feel like they're being threatened. And there is no solution to this because we're going to keep making babies. You can't put enough prisons, and that's part of what the prison population is about. It's a form of birth control that's imposed on the African population to keep us from making babies. So they don't have a solution for this. That's what kicking all the immigrants is all about, because they are settlers. This country is a settler colony. And for settlers, you've taken somebody's land, you occupy their land and territory, then you don't want anybody else to come here. I remember in New Zealand where they would not allow anybody to come into New Zealand who was not white. And they were trying to recruit white people, come to New Zealand. They are settlers. And because they are settlers, anybody coming into the country is a problem. And the whole system that people identify as capitalist system is founded on settlers, settler colonialism, United States being a primary and perhaps an originator of settler colonialism. And then tell me a place where so-called capitalism is successful that did not have as its basis settler colonialism. Settler colonialism, stealing people's land, stealing people's resources, and not just stealing the land, but occupying the territory and taking the goods and resources that are there. That's what we're looking at. And they don't have a solution for that. What is the solution for that? What are they going to do at the next Munich conference that's resolved that contradiction? And the fact is that there is no solution. And this is not something that concerns so-called conservatives. Liberals too are frightened about the idea of growing up. That's why your property values go down when Africans move into a liberal white community or what used to be a liberal white community. That's why all of that stuff happens, because liberals too, settlers, have a problem with growing numbers of people. And the thing is that people have been confused is because historically in the past, when people talked about colonialism, they talk about England coming to the United States. They talk about France going to Haiti and things like that. And initially the objective was to come here and to get resources and send back to England, what they call the mother country, or send back to France, which was the mother country, or send back to Belgium, which was the mother country. I call them a mother something else, but that's another story. But the fact is they stayed. And so you have this colonialism that's changed its character, its nature even. So now you've got colonizers who now define themselves globally as white. The whole concept of whiteness, white people, Europe has its origin in slavery and colonialism. Was no such thing as white people as a people until colonialism and slavery. Was no such thing as Europe, except until of slavery and colonialism. Enslavement of Africa is another. This is the thing that gave them identity. This is part of the superstructure, if you will, the ideological foundation. What have we said about racism? It is what? The ideological what? Underpinning of the whole social system. So people learn how to think based on how they live, based on the reality, based on how they extract, based on how they get their resources to live, etc. This is what creates the superstructure, the ideology, the philosophy that's born of this situation. That's why, early on, it used to blow my mind because I'm reading Marx, I'm reading Engels. And Engels, by the way, who lived with a woman, an Irish woman, he may have married her, I don't remember, but I know he lived with her for a long time. And he described the Irish in horribly negative ways. I said, wait a minute, this guy's living with, but why? Because England was doing what? Had colonized Ireland. And Ireland was one of those places, been a long-standing colony for long, and it informed his consciousness too. As bright and brilliant as he was, his consciousness was informed by this objective material relationship that England had with the Irish, and et cetera. So these are factors that we're dealing with. I'm so happy about this conference today, this meeting on today. One of the things that makes it really important is that it puts into context the question of reparations. Because reparations is not somebody just doing a damn good deed. Reparations is negating colonialism. But not only is it negating colonialism, it's populism, if you will. They're talking about populism. We're getting masses of people to unite with this project, massive white people. We're the only force that's ever done this in history. You had Callie House, a long time ago. You had Market, you had other people who were talking about reparations, but usually reparations has been seen as a Black thing. So only Black people, the Black movement talk about reparations. We're saying that there's no way to deal with the world as it really is without there being a mass demand. And this is the opportunity for white people, colonizers, settlers, in this instance, but colonizers in every instance, to make a self-criticism for the peoples of the world, because their brains have been warped by this relationship that we have. Because every day, everything that they see in the world validates this assumption, negative assumption they have about Black people. I know we must be superior. That's why every time I see an African is out here poor, begging, or the ones who come to clean my house or do these other kinds of things, this is clear material evidence of the superiority of white people versus African people, et cetera. This is a magnificent opportunity that we are offering people to deal with this question, and we're taking the vanguard on this for the first time in history. So this is a critical moment. This is why this is important. So reparations is not just doing somebody a favor, it's doing your ass a favor. I mean, to the extent when you understand that when we talk about reparations as a mode of production, not just as a policy by Israel, which is an illegitimate white nationalist, it's an illegitimate white nationalist extension of colonial power. It is the abandonment of the struggle for socialism by European Jews who had the same opportunity as Jews who were in Russia, and instead built a revolutionary organization, revolutionary party, the same opportunity as Trotsky, the same opportunity as others who united with the revolution. Instead, they united with colonialism and decided they're going to take Palestinian land and what have you. And this is the kind of stuff that we are dealing with. So this is we have this splendid opportunity now, and I want us to take advantage of this opportunity. And there is no cure inside this system. So what we are doing now is negating colonialism. Reparations goes toward even the investment company that's bringing resources to the colonized to negate the authority and ability of the colonizer to continue controlling us. Reparations is what you see up and down West Florissant. It's negating colonialism. Look at why they would spend 9 months before you can open up a damn bakery cafe in a location that for 20 years has been dealing with food and what have you. Well, look at what they would do at 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning on July 29, 2022. Come with armored vehicles and things like that. Look at how we've already affected the north side of St. Louis, how more people now coming in to the north side of St. Louis. And look at how the reality is that what we were doing was impacting on this national geospatial intelligence entity that's changing that was challenging, deepening the impoverishment of African people, deepening the drive of African people out of St. Louis, taking properties, et cetera, using the power of eminent domain, which is the government, et cetera, to take property from the people. And in the process of doing that, taking 2,000 acres and where Africans are being pushed out. There have been 30,000 Africans being pushed out of North St. Louis in the last something like 10 years. 30,000. And how many have been pushed out since the tornado? And how few would have been pushed out if just the Todd plan that Jesse Todd put forth. Jesse, I don't know if you know it, but that was why the Todd plan couldn't work. Because the Todd plan was negating colonialism. That's why not that it couldn't work, but why it was so hard to get support, because the people who pay the other people who were all the persons demanded the conditions that we are confronted with now. How much better off would North St. Louis be if they had not intervened in the work that we were doing? If they had not tried to put us in prison for 15 years, if they had not talked about you're going to pay $250,000, if they had not spent so much spying and things on us that the equivalent of something like 2.5 million bullets is the stuff that they had taken from us. Look at where could those resources have gone to? If those resources had united with Black Power blueprint, because it is a blueprint for Black Power. And that's the contradiction. And I appreciate something that one of our comrades said the other day. All of the economic development work that we are doing should be a part of the blueprint for Black Power. Whether that's St. Petersburg, Florida, whether that's wherever we are engaged in doing this, it is Black Power blueprint. So that's, and I want to say this finally, and to appreciate everybody who's here, either virtually or in this room right now, because they have no solution for this, but we do. But in order for this solution to be meaningful, we are going to have to stop and really promote our understanding that America has nothing for us. That the Dred Scott decision, I said it from the first time I read it. I had never read it, I just heard about it. When I read the Dred Scott decision, I said, that's good law. That is good law. The liberals hated it because they wanted everybody to be brought into this fanciful notion that we all gonna be the same and et cetera. That was good law. He said Black people were not brought here to vote and to do all this other stuff, brought here to be enslaved. He gave the historical background for it and said they have no rights that the white people have to respect. That was good law based on the whole trajectory that brought us here and put us in this location in the first place. So they sent in National Guards into our communities. What we just saw with the assassination of Charles Kirk and how it unleashed all kinds of stuff throughout the white communities, where the liberals are too timid to even say who this guy Kirk really was, and how he had the horrible things and invited violence and oppression of Africans and other people. The liberals are too timid to say it because he's dead now. Yeah, and not he's dead, but he's dead now, etc. Everybody dies. There's nothing peculiar about that. And to have us to be, crying crocodile tears because he's dead, that's ridiculous. But the point is that his assassination, you see, has led to all kinds of popular figures who now are saying disregard laws, disregard even colonial bourgeois law, kick everybody else, put everybody in prison who's not white. This is the line that's coming out now. So what do we do? What the hell do we do? What we do is pronounce, is to dig in and promote what we've understood as African people, that we have to have independence as a people. There is no freedom inside the system for us, so we fight for independence. And the part of the fight for independence does exactly what we've been doing. It negates the colonial authority. It negates their influence by growing our own influence. Because the fact is that freedom is not something you get on one day. We begin the process of constructing freedom. We construct our way out of this enslavement. We do that ourselves. And I think that's really something important for us. I'm really struggling to be able to say this more effectively. But we fight for democracy. And my fight is not that they don't believe that we call it. I think we have to raise the colonial question. I think raising the colonial question is really important because it makes it possible because that gives science to the thing. Even for the most backwards white person can understand the science and logic of it, as opposed to when you start asking them to fight against racism, which presupposes that they have to fight against themselves. I'm not asking you to fight against yourself. I'm asking you to unite that African people who are colonized. We should have self-determination. You say you got self-determination. We want self-determination too. And that's the kind of thing that we are talking about. So we have to make that struggle. We have to fight for democracy and promote democratic stuff, because that's what they're trying to take from. That's the hands off Uhuru. We have to go ahead and build with the hands off Uhuru the campaign to get rid of this foreign agent registration law, to get rid of these laws that will allow them to imprison people for what you think, which is the conspiracy laws. We have to support the upcoming next weekend. Everybody here should register to become a part of the International People's Democratic Uhuru Movement Convention that's going to be happening right here in St. Louis. And these kinds of projects that we're involved in. I've spoken too long. Nobody told me. I didn't see. They didn't say if I went beyond the time frame that I had. But so I'll stop now, and perhaps we'll have an opportunity.
Chairman.
Chairman, that just made it so clear.
Yeah.
What we have to do and why we have to do it.
That's right. That's right. Wow. Thank you so much, Chairman. Let's give another round of applause for Chairman Omali. That was an incredible presentation. I really, really appreciate that, Chairman. And as Chairwoman Penny said, it made it so clear, give us a clear understanding of where we're at in the world right now and what we have to do and why the Reparations Investment Company and the reparations demand. I love the concept of reparations populism. That's what the party has created. And the Reparations Investment Company as negating colonialism. That's what it's about. And that's why every white person who is concerned about what's happening in the world right now and wants to take a stand against it, they talk about direct action. Reparations Investment Company is direct action. It's direct action against colonialism and for the liberation of African people and all oppressed peoples everywhere. So, Uhuru. And we're going to be going, so things are going to be in motion right now for a little bit. What's going to happen now is our comrades, Kara, and I want to give a huge shout out to a very special comrade of the Uhuru Solidarity Movement, Virginia Wilson, out in Louisville, Kentucky. So they're going to take over right now, and what's going to happen is myself and Comrade Dylan back there are going to head over to the Harris property, and we need to kind of get things set up there for a few minutes. So in about 20 minutes, we want to invite everybody who's in the room with us to get in your cars and drive over there. Yeah, we can coordinate for people to be in as few cars as possible to get people over there. But and we'll have the address. People who are driving will have the address. So we'll be kind of transitioning from, we're going to have a brief presentation about where we're at with our fundraising today for the reparations appeal from Kara in Virginia. And then in about roughly 30 minutes, they will be turning it over to us over at the Harris property, the first renovations project of the Reparations Investment Company. We're going to do a live tour of that building and announce some exciting developments with regards to that as well. So Uhuru, I'm going to turn it over to Kara and Virginia.
Uhuru, Uhuru. What an incredible, incredible program so far. Just loved hearing from Chairwoman Penny Hess, and then obviously the chairman. It was amazing. And my name again is Kara, and I apologize if my Zoom camera is weird. I'm having issues, so it actually makes me kind of look like a ghost. But anyway, we want to announce before we begin this appeal that we have already raised $16,445, and yes, round of applause. So that means I don't know how much that means to 30,000. I think it's like 13,000 maybe, or yeah, somewhere in that camp. But I want to shout out the list of pledges so far, and that is Ashton, Ahmed, Kate, Raya, Vito, Paul, Rainey, Hallie, Wendy, Ellen, Joel, David, Dylan, Indigo, Amanda, Gemini, Puget Sound Dinner. Puget Sound is part of the West Coast region of USM, and they're going to be putting on a dinner. We're going to talk more about how you can do pledges, or I'm sorry, do events to get pledges and donations. Further shout out Ryan, Caesar, Camille, Brendan, and Janet. And the Oakland yard sale too, which is pledging $1,000, and that's coming up on June 27th. So if you're in the Oakland area, please come to that. And okay. Oh, I'm sorry. I should have said all the amounts for this. So Ashton pledged 20, Ahmed 25, Kate 50, Raya 100, Vito 100, Paul 150, Rainey 150, Hallie 200, Wendy 250, Ellen 250, Joel 250, David 300, Dylan 500, Indigo 500, Amanda 500, Gemini 500, Puget Sound Dinner 500, Ryan 500, Caesar 500, Camille 1,000, Brendan 1,000, Oakland Yard Sale 1,000, and Janet 1,000. And that's the total of 16,445. And I would like to add a pledge of that for 500.
That's amazing. That's amazing. So we have more than $16,000 already just from these pledges. And that's fantastic. We want people to keep those coming. People can make a pledge if you're watching online or in the Zoom chat. You can make your pledge or let us know you're making a donation, and you can go to uhurusolidarity.org/pay-reparations to do that. And I would like to make my pledge clear. I've upgraded my sustainership. I'm a sustaining member of the Uhuru Solidarity Movement, so that means each month we pay reparations, and I am upgrading that to the Ella Baker level sustainership, which is $100 a month, and so that goes toward my pledge. I want to make my total pledge be $500. So I'm going to be doing friends and family ask, and might do a yard sale or different ways. There's all kinds of ways and creative ways that people are raising their pledge amount. So it's very exciting. Did we know about any other people who would like to say their pledge? or?
Yes, and in case we didn't announce it, I think we did earlier though, Janine donated 150.
Uhuru, thank you, Janine.
Yes, Uhuru. And let's see if anyone coming in. Oh, our new total, $17,445. That's amazing. Oh, but Brendan wants to add $50 more. So that would mean we've got $12,545 left to remaining.
That's
And I didn't do
amazing.
that math in my head. Amanda helped with that. So
Oh, wow. That's so amazing. And we really want to salute everyone who's made a pledge and everyone who's made a donation. Thank you so much for standing on the right side of history and for supporting the programs of the African People's Socialist Party. These programs, as the chairman described, that are forwarding self-determination in the African community, overturning colonial conditions in the African community. And not only that, but by paying reparations, it allows us, from the colonizer population, we can divest from that and join the colonized, rejoin humanity, join the colonized, and for a better world for all of us, And so it's just a wonderful thing to do and a way to be involved in literally making the world a better place is to be under the leadership of the revolutionary African working class and joining this campaign for the Days of Reparations. So we invite everybody who's watching, if you're watching on YouTube, if you're watching the live stream on Facebook, or if you're here in the Zoom chat, we just want to, welcome everybody in and say thank you so much for viewing and being here. Please share the live stream and let us know again if you've made a pledge or if you would like to join this campaign. And now we have some slides that we'll go through. And I will let Comrade Cara start those out.
yes, great. Thank you. So yeah, Uhuru, like this is our whole motto, unity through reparations. That's how we unify. And as Virginia was saying, and as the chairman has said, this is our way to enter into humanity because our history is so horrible as a white person, and we don't have to hold on to that.
You guys,
oh, Wendy, you're on mute. Yeah. And so really, this is material. Oh, something's going on with the screen here. This is material solidarity. And what that means is we have that white people have the generational wealth. We have the money, as Penny said, I think, what was it? 8,000. What was that statistic? I wrote it down. Let me find that. Yeah, white people have 8,000 more in wealth, times more in wealth than with all their money and assets than African people do. And I mean, just the disparity is so clear. And that's from 500 years of colonialism. So yeah, as we said, you can go to uhurusolidarity.org/pay-reparations. And we want to, when the slides get back on, we want to definitely go through different programs of Black Star Industries and the Black Power Blueprint, and just all the ways that we have raised money and reparations over the course of this year so far.
Oh, wow. I tell you, can we say, I'm so sorry to interrupt, but we have more pledges that have come in.
Oh, please.
Can I read some of these?
Yes.
I would love to do that. So let me find these. Bear with me. Okay. And we're going down here. This is so exciting. Okay. So I think we may have already said some of these. I think maybe. So of course,
we're at Brendan 50.
Brendan 50, and then I'm looking at the at another table where someone is keeping track, and I believe, did we say Janice Camp 500, Wendy Snyder 250, Diane Tournay 50, and Comrade and 100. So I wanted to read those off in case we did not get those yet. And yes, and then Brendan, you said Brendan 50. Was that right?
Yes.
And I think we already said Diane 50. So that's exciting.
And you got
Okay.
Angelica and Gregory.
Yes.
Yes. So I don't know what our new pledge, our new total is.
Okay, so I'm trying to get this right. So I want to see from oh, okay. She was giving you the quotation you were looking for, the statistics from Chairwoman Benny, I think,
Yes.
just a minute ago. Okay,
Yeah,
that's what that was.
yeah.
So, yeah. So anyway, I was like, yes, okay.
You know what? I want to clarify that statistic because I wrote it down.
Go
but
ahead.
It was 800,000% of between what white people have compared to Africans, and that's
Wow.
astronomical. I mean,
That's the disparity in material wealth.
yes. Thank you.
Wow.
Yes.
And you know, like the chairman has described so many times before, that is because of the colonial legacy that we've all inherited. And then chairman says, you know, the chairman, speaking as an African person, says, you know, we've inherited the poverty, the social poverty from colonialism and enslavement. And you, speaking to, you know, a white people in the audience, you know, colonizer population, you've inherited the social wealth. And we've got to change our legacy. And I unite with that. And so this is one way to do that. And so, yeah, reparations for Black Star Industries, our goal is $30,000. And can we have the next slide or, yeah, okay. Yeah. And you can go to uhurusolidarity.org/pay-reparations and to make your contribution. And yeah, next slide. And what is Black Star Industries? And this is something that was developed by the African People's Socialist Party. It's the economic infrastructure for a liberated African nation. So the goal of Black Star Industries is to begin the process of building all the economic systems for African people. And it is a way for, like the chairman mentioned when he was speaking just today, it's a way for the Black community to have self-determination, to have some control and power over their own lives and resources, to start overturning these colonial conditions in their community. Uhuru, go ahead, Kara.
Uhuru, thank you, Virginia. Yes. So part of Black Star Industries, or the Black Power Blueprint, is actually part of Black Star Industries. And that these are the anti-colonial independent African economy project now on the north side of St. Louis, and which is where the African community has been for many decades. And so then you can see here just a glimpse of everything that, not everything, but some of the programs, and you can see the African flag flying proudly. It's beautiful, and it's right there by the Uhuru House, which is the community center. You'll see the murals. You have to definitely come to St. Louis if you have not had a chance to go and see the Black Power Blueprint for yourself in person. It's quite amazing and so powerful, and has already, in the 5 years or so that it's been in existence, has transformed the community in so many profound ways, and especially with like the relief during the tornado. They were the first ones to step up and help the community, where obviously, as we see, the state has done nothing.
Exactly. Can we go to the next slide now? And this is a quote from Chairman Omali Yeshitela: "The Black Power Blueprint is a struggle for African, community, economic, and political power. It's against the system that is responsible for our poverty and powerlessness." Next slide. And there's the Uhuru House in the Black community of North St. Louis, and the beautiful red, black, and green African flag flying there. And this is a component of Black Power Blueprint, to have a community building space, to have a community spot to host events and for the community to gather. Next slide.
And this is the Gary Brooks Community Garden, which is beautiful. I mean, they have everything. They have tomatoes, and they have collard greens, and they have apples, and cucumbers and squash and cabbage. I mean, you name it. I could keep going on and on. There's so many planters. I've been there now 3 times to see it in person, and it keeps getting bigger every year. And
and we definitely want to show more, more of this. So let's keep going with the slides.
Yeah, next slide.
And there's the One Africa, One Nation Farmers Market, and the different outdoor events, and they also do a weekly giveaway some months during the summer of the produce, and it's a place where the whole community can come and partake in this and share, and also it's a place for Black farmers and Black vendors to come and have commerce together as well, right there in the Black community. Next slide.
Yeah, this is the Africa One Nation Farmers Market. And as Virginia was saying, this is where people can come and sell their wares in the community, everything from food to jewelry. It's a great way for the community to get involved, set up small businesses. And this is all part of the independent African economy that is literally happening right now as we speak.
Right, and we have so much more to show you, so we have to keep going. We have to make it through these slides. We have a lot to show you. So there's the Black Power Vanguard's community basketball court, which is a place where the children can gather and have a safe space to be active and feel happiness and do something that interests them and get the community involved in it, and also physical activity and health. It's the most beautiful state-of-the-art basketball court, and around it is painted the revolutionary mural by the artist there, and it's just a glorious part of the community there. It really does stand out. Can we go to the next slide? And the Uhuru Wa Kilia Health Center, Uhuru Wa Kilia, I believe it's freedom to nurture. And this is to address the disparity in health care between the white population and colonized people in the African population. So the infant mortality rate is very high in the Black community compared with the white community. This is one thing that is part of addressing that and overturning that. Next slide. And the Uhuru Bakery and Cafe had a wonderful victory this year, and work is being started on that. And I'm not sure, what is the progress on the Uhuru Bakery and Cafe? What's the latest update on that? Do we know?
Well, I believe that, they should, once they have completely renovated, and they've gotten such a good start to it from the last time I saw it in July, it was being painted. I'm not sure exactly when it's going to be opening, hopefully.
And this is one of the many ways that the colonial conditions are being overturned, because in a lot of Black communities, like in North St. Louis, there's a food desert, and there really isn't like nearby grocery stores and neighborhood restaurants and grocery stores, just a place where people can go to get food. And this is part of overturning that. And also the Uhuru Foods and Pies will be sold there. And yeah, it's just a wonderful program to overturn the colonial conditions in the Black community. Can we go to the next slide? There's the pies. They are so good. What's your favorite pie, Kara?
My favorite pie is the probably the chocolate pecan. What about you?
Apple crumb.
Oh,
so
awesome.
Good.
They're all good though. I had the pleasure of being able to work with Uhuru Foods and Pies for 8 years when it was in the Bay Area, San Francisco Bay Area, and it was incredible work. And just the pies were top tier and everybody loved them and still does. So next slide, we have about 8 more minutes. So we're just going to kind of run through these slides.
Oh, yeah.
And yeah. So again, these are just more programs, the African Independence Workforce, people coming out of prison. Next slide. Definitely, you guys can still go to uhurusolidarity.org and pay/reparations, make reparations a reality. Next slide. So I had the honor of being part of the Summer Reparations Project, and that was an intensive for us, for part of Uhuru Solidarity Movement. And we're going to just show some slides from that. Next slide.
Reparations Summer Project. Wow.
Yeah, it was amazing. That's us in front of the Solidarity Center. Next slide. Okay. The next slide is Harriet and Dred Scott, which you heard more about, and literally made what was that saying, that no white man has to respect anything any African or Black man says or thinks or believes. And that's helped spark the Civil War, and we learned so much. Dylan, our great comrade Dylan, he's at the Harris property, and that's where Jesse and everybody is right now. And
yeah, so we're gonna get a sneak peek of that. We're gonna get it to take a look at the Harris property today, which is part of the Reparations Legacy Project and the Reparations Investment Company. Can we keep going on the slides? And this is from the Reparations Summer Project, it looks like, also maybe. Can we keep going?
Yeah, this is from the town hall where we took on the mayor, and and this is more about us talking about that. We took on the state, basically, who was trying to take over the Northside, put in a spy agency, gentrify it. And that's what we are raising money for, to stop that. This literally stops gentrification. This is just a beautiful sunflower. That's one of the other things they grow in the garden.
Yes.
We're eating some right off the trees. We're eating tomatoes, like those little cherry tomatoes.
Nice.
So sweet. Here we're in the cafe, the bakery and cafe, and Sally's just presenting things to us. Keep going. And then we had this benefit, Solidarity with the Northside, which was incredible. And here we raised over $17,000, and we could just kind of run through these slides real quick.
Yeah.
We can just run through them.
Yeah.
Amazing.
These are some of the artists that were performing at the Solidarity with the Northside benefit. There were so many. It was an incredible event. It was also live streamed. And
yeah, they were so good. Roller skating, that was one of them. Amazing.
Yeah.
Yep. Raised
and
over
the Solidarity. Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
The Solidarity with the Northside benefit raised over $17,000 in reparations. Huge success. Let's keep going with the slides. Yeah. And then another benefit that just happened last weekend, was Artists Against Genocide in St. Pete, Florida. And this event was so incredible. It was hosted at the Unitarian Universalist Church in St. Pete. So many artists, different genres, came together, and USM, Uhuru Solidarity in St. Pete, organized this event with these artists, and it was incredible. And there were so many people there. I want to say, there were a lot of people there. I'm not sure if it was like close to 100 or what, but it was a lot. And this event had a goal to raise reparations for the Days of Reparations campaign. They raised over $1,500. So we really salute USM in St. Pete. And here's some of the artists. That's Tona E. and Rain Christie, and the Dissenters were there, and so many. So we'll just go through the slides. We want to salute all of the artists who contributed their talents. It was a magical evening. amazing evening of reparations. And as you can see, it was very exciting. So we can keep going. Yeah, there we go. These are great photos too. We want to thank the photographer. I want to say that was Gabby for these amazing photos of all these artists.
Wow.
Yeah, over $1,500 in reparations was raised.
That's incredible.
Amazing.
That is incredible. Next slide. Okay, so you've heard about the Reparations Legacy Project, and that is what is white people, what is our legacy? What do we want to leave to this earth that we're destroying through colonial capitalism? And so reparations is what I want my legacy to be. Next slide. Again, always salute Chairman Omali Yeshitela and DC Ona Yeshitela. They are just true the most amazing people I've ever met, and they're doing so much to literally save the world. Uhuru.
That's right. And I just want to say quickly, you know, Chairman is basically the leader of the Worldwide African Revolution, and Deputy Chairwoman is Yeshitela. She is the architect, if you will, of the Black Power Blueprint. And a famous quote of hers is, "The political and the economic are one." And so that's what we're doing. That's what we're talking about today. We're talking about reparations and our legacy. Uhuru.
Next slide.
Oh, this is a great clip to play. Yeah, this is what I was talking about.
Yeah.
Oh, is there a way to play that clip? I wasn't sure if we were gonna. It's not very long, I don't think. If there's a way
to play it, it's great.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know if we can share the sound.
Oh, we can't hear it. Yeah.
You have to share the sound setting real quick. Yeah.
You can read it though.
Yeah. Yes. The chairman says, "You inherited the wealth of slavery. I inherited the poverty. I'm determined to change this legacy that's been left up to me. If you don't change yours for yourself, you know, it's going to change too. So it's best for us to join. Both sides of us can end this thing together." Yeah, that is a powerful clip. That it is a clip, I believe, on our YouTube channel, Uhuru Solidarity on YouTube. I didn't know if we wanted to try to play that or if we want to move on. Oh, that's it. Oh, sorry. Did we want to?
We probably need to move on.
We need to move on. This is an historic photo of the party and one of their many struggles that they've taken on throughout the decades, because they've been around since 1972. And this looks like it might have been from the late 70s, 80s. It says, "Food stamps, hell, our people are not begging for crumbs. We stand tall with dignity, demand reparations now." And that's how it's always been, standing tall with dignity, demanding reparations. Uhuru, next slide.
Next slide. So what will your legacy be? Next slide. That you can see this is very, you know, all the currency, all the money stolen is right there. Let's make it a reality for African people to fight for their liberation. And part of that, our duty is to give reparations. Next slide. Reparations is not philanthropy or charity. It literally is solidarity. It's the most principled thing we as white people can do to stand in solidarity with African people. Next slide. Reparations and wealth redistribution. What can you do? And we're going to show you some awesome, amazing ways to use your reparations. And that's where we're going to be talking about and where they're going to be in the next few minutes. You'll see the Reparations Investment Company and our first property, the Harris property.
Yes.
Next slide. Oh, just some amazing photos. Next slide. Not sure what this is.
I'm not sure what that is.
That's snuck in here, but I'm sure it's, yeah, just showing Wall Street, all the, yep, the disparities, the conditions of the African community.
Yeah.
Compared
Like the wealth of the you know, the wealth of the colonizer, population is built on the poverty of oppressed and colonized peoples. That's what it was built at their expense. And so, yeah, that's what we want to overturn. And yeah, so I didn't know if that's the last slide or if there's any more.
I think we have more,
slides.
because we definitely want to see
We
the.
we need to run through some to move ahead to, where we're talking about our the next steps and and all this kind of thing. So we do need to, if we're able to show the slides, we need to.
And you can.
A small number
You
of
can move that
billionaires
past
and
that
millionaires
slide.
have
Yeah.
more wealth
We-
hoarded in their hands
we
than the
might have to
majority of the
go
world's
past the clip.
population.
Maybe, I'm not sure.
This is the reality of colonialism in America, built on genocide and slavery. Under the leadership of the African People's Socialist Party, African people inside the US and around the world are building programs to reclaim power over their stolen resources and lives.
When we have the power, we provide for our communities.
The Reparations Legacy Conference is a challenge to all white people with access to social, financial, and generational wealth to pay reparations to the movement for African self-determination and Black power, led by the African working class.
Question is, what stand do you take as it relates to this social system that has its foundation in slavery and genocide? Are you really interested in overturning this relationship?
Now is our chance to join the human community through reparations, the return of stolen resources, and the creation of an equitable world where no one lives at the expense of anyone else, and the colonized of the earth have independence and freedom.
Wow, that is really powerful. And
Yes,
right
Very-
now, pardon me? Yeah.
very powerful. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. And white reparations to African people. We want to call for donations. Right now, we're asking for $30,000. That is what we want, our goal, and of course, we always want to surpass it. So, is there anyone out there who literally actually can make a $30,000 pledge in donations right now? You can be out on YouTube or Facebook, online, in person. We also have ways of paying check, different ways that you can pay. Okay, what about 15,000? Think of all the money, that could go towards and helping these institutions. We're still building more. So, right now we're at the Bakery and Cafe. Next few years, we want to open up a restaurant and serve the community. This is a way of bringing food back into the community. You've heard of food deserts. Definitely the Northside would have that quote unquote food desert, but it's all colonialism. They don't have access to the food that the
Can
white.
we show a slide? Can we show a slide with the donation link on it while we're talking about donating
Yes.
and how people can donate?
If you go, yeah. Yeah, any of these, right there,
Okay.
uhurusolidarity.org/pay-reparations. And Virginia?
Oh yeah, and thank you for that. Whoever's doing the slides, I really appreciate your help with that. So like we say, yeah, it is our goal to raise 30,000. If anybody can give 30,000 right now, that will be awesome. We have already raised over $16,000, but we don't want to stop there. We want to keep going. But yes, if you are watching this right now and this has motivated you and you're like, yes, I really want to take a stand, and you're able to, if there's someone who is able to contribute $30,000, let us know in the chat, let us know in the Zoom chat, or let us know in the comments on YouTube or Facebook, or if you're in the room, stand up and let us know. And if there's no one Answering that call, is there someone who can do 15,000? And I'm just gonna keep going and wait and
Keep
see
going down the line.
who is ready to do this, who does have access to wealth. And that's what Reparations Legacy Project is geared toward. It's geared toward that part of the colonizer population, that part of the white community that does have access to wealth, wealth that they could leave a legacy with. And so if you would like to contribute 15,000, or how about, we have a new total though, Kara, to announce. And our new total is $17,910. So we really want to thank everybody who has contributed to that. And so now we just have $12,090 to go. So if you would like to donate $12,090, make it be known. Let us know if you're in the room, if you're in the chat, in the Zoom chat, or watching on YouTube or Facebook. Let us know in the comments if you would like to make a donation of $12,000, $12,090. Yes.
And in the wealth, that if we have 800,000% of the wealth, imagine like $10,000 would be nothing to drop on this kind of investment, really. And we can't wait to show you the Harris property, where you can literally invest in the community, in the housing of the community, in the real estate, and keep the African community intact instead of getting driven out, as we see that the city has been trying to do now, as they did with the Let It Rot policy. So if anyone out there has $10,000, or somebody who wants to be part of this movement, that's how we meet people, through people also. So please spread the word. Go to uhurusolidarity.org/pay-reparations. And could we move on to the slides? We'd love to see maybe some of the RIC slides, the Reparations Investment Company. Or there's a lot of them, so. Yeah, go back up a couple. Yeah, the Reparations Investment Company. This is part of how you can invest your reparations. Like, even if you don't have $10,000 on you in cash right now, I mean, maybe you have something in savings that you would like to actually invest that money, and you can get it back through when they rehab and sell the house. And if you want to move on with the slides. We just want to salute the leadership of Deputy Chair Onezene Yeshitela. As we said, as Virginia said, she is the architect of the Black Power Blueprint. She took on this reparations, this work, and took on the reparations work of USM to a whole new level. And so we actually our reparations, we can actually see it in progress. Next slide. Virginia, do you want to explain that one?
Oh, sure. Yeah. Bear with me now. Okay, so, what this looks like is the renovations that were done on the Uhuru house. I think that's what we're looking at. Let's see the next slide to see if we can piece it together a little bit. Yeah, and there you go. There's before and after right there. So that's just incredible. Can we keep going with the slides? Yeah, hiring Black contractors, the community coming together, volunteers from the community, everybody coming together to help build this. And it looks like this looks like the workforce housing. That's what that looks like. I'm not sure, but that's what that looks like when that's being worked on.
Yeah.
And yeah, and then we can see how the progress is going there. and in the lower right-hand photo, and that's beautiful. Can we keep going? And these same kind of like, just like with the workforce housing program, which is going to be housing for people who are transitioning from being incarcerated and then looking to need a place to live and a find work and a career and so forth. So what we'd like to do here with the Reparations Investment Company, under the party's leadership, and it's the party's Black Star Industries that owns these properties, is have affordable housing units available to the Black community. So there's Ferris Avenue, there's on Harris Avenue, which is where we'll be going to today. That's going to be exciting. We're actually going to get to see our comrades when they rejoin us. We'll be talking to them from the Harris property in a little bit. And so these are some properties that have been acquired and are being renovated. Uhuru.
And if you're ever able to get inside these properties once they've been rehabbed and renovated, and how Chairwoman or Deputy Chair Onazane Yeshitela, how she decorates and puts together these amazing, beautiful homes for people, it's just incredible. And so we want to say that here's more of just the construction that happened around the basketball court, just some more pictures of Black Power Blueprint in action. Next slide. So this map shows Fluorescent Corridor, which is a major street on the north side of St. Louis. And this is like full of, it's right in the heart of the African community. And all these numbers indicate properties and institutions of the Black Power Blueprint. With number one, I'm sure, being the Uhuru House. But yeah, you just go along Fluorescent Corridor and you're going to run into all of this. And, from like the Uhuru Bakery and Cafe, which brings food to the community, to the Wakalia Health Center, which brings health to the community, and set up a doula training. Back in 2023, trained like 15 doulas, so they can serve, the African women who are who are pregnant and need African people to be part of not the white medical system that we see today that harms African people. Again, here's before and afters. Like that beautiful Uhuru House is incredible. I've had the pleasure of being in it several times now, and it's one of three. We have one in Oakland, California, and we have another Uhuru House in St. Petersburg, California. And that's what this blueprint is. It's a blueprint that can literally be replicated anywhere wherever African people are. Yeah, go for it.
I want to also remind people, I don't know if there's a slide coming up that would have this on there, but I just want to remind people a couple of things about the Days of Reparations for our campaign. For one thing, you can actually make your pledge of reparations to raise funds toward this campaign, the Days of Reparations goal. And your goal can be set, we would like to, of course, obviously raise all of it today if we can, but we do have a goal to raise the funds by the end of October. So if there's anybody out there who would like to make a pledge, let us know in the chat, or you can email us at info@uhurusolidarity.org. And we'd like to just continue to salute all of the comrades who've been building the Days of Reparations. Over the past, couple months. We want to salute the garage sale in St. Pete, and Camille helped so much with that, USM in St. Louis, and we want to salute the benefit in St. Pete, Jamie Johan, USM Tampa Bay area, and salute the Western region, the Puget Sound dinner that we've spoken of, the Oakland yard sale, and the comrades in Columbus, Dylan and Indigo, and salute Leah in Minneapolis. So wherever you're at, yes, you can make a pledge to raise reparations for the Days of Reparations campaign. Our goal is $30,000, and we just want to continue to announce donations as they come in. We want to get excited about this, and we want to know if there's anyone else out there who would like to contribute. And you can go to uhurusolidarity.org/pay-reparations. And did you know another way to, like I said, make a pledge is if you're not yet a member of the Uhuru Solidarity Movement, you can become a member today. You can start your sustaining membership today at uhurusolidarity.org/join. Become a sustaining member of Uhuru Solidarity. So if you visit uhurusolidarity.org, you'll have the choice you'll see right there where you can pay reparations. You can click on that and make your donation today or become a member as well. Uhuru, Kara?
Uhuru, people are asking, what is our new total? We're still at $17,910, but you know what? We should get it over to 18,000 right now. And that's only $90. Is there anyone out there that can just throw in a $90 and make it even? I like working with even numbers. It's easier for math.
Oh yeah, much easier. Much easier. Let me check out the chat on YouTube too and see what's going on there.
Yeah.
And see if any comments have come in on Facebook.
I mean,
go ahead.
Oh no, let's go to the next slide and see what we have.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, this is just how the Reparations Investment Company is going to do what they're doing. And this is their first goal, is build capacity to raise $100,000 each year to support Black Star Industries. That's what this is all about. That's why we are trying to make our $30,000 goal, all going towards this goal of $100,000 to buy all these beautiful properties and invest in these properties for the African community, prevent gentrification from ravaging it as it already is trying to do we're seeing a huge spy agency being dropped in, I don't even know how many blocks it is. It's huge in the middle of the African community. And now I think there's a chemical company coming in too. It's so insidious. And this is why we have to fight back. This is our way of fighting back.
Absolutely. And that part of that gentrification is also since the tornado of, I think it was May 17th or 18th, since the tornado in May. The Black community was devastated by that in North St. Louis. And that's another way that gentrification has been trying to take over there, and the powers that be, if you will, or the city government or whoever was trying for a time there to basically almost displace the Black community or make it very difficult for them to rebuild. And the African People's Socialist Party and, the community, really, actually, the community of North St. Louis came together and has fought back against that very successfully. So I want to shout out to all of the people involved in that fight back and winning the community to see that, we have to stay here and we need to rebuild. And that's another, aspect of the work that's being done there in St. Louis. And that's why this is so important. That's why it's so important to support reparations right now, reparations to build that self-determination in the Black community, reparations so that these colonial conditions can be overturned, and so that we aren't seeing people suffer from the conditions that colonialism places upon their lives. That's what this is all about. And it's a beautiful thing. And you can be a part of it. You can donate today. We want to raise that full amount. We want to raise our 30,000 and beyond. So let us know. And was there anyone else who said they could do $90 or more? Double check. And go ahead, Kara.
While Virginia's looking at that, this is another goal. We want to win skilled and unskilled volunteers. Like if you have or somebody who has a skill in carpentry or building houses, a construction or anything that's used to rehab and build a home, please come on board. And if you don't have those skills, this is the beauty of the Uhuru movement, and because it has taught me so many skills myself, that you can be an unskilled at it and you get trained. So, nothing dangerous, but things that anyone could do, and you get the full training, and it's really powerful, and you walk away feeling really empowered. You learn something new, and you are contributing towards building this independent African economy. You're contributing towards this anti-colonial world that we want.
Yeah,
And
that's
go ahead,
very
Virginia.
well said. Very well said. There's so many ways to get involved and volunteer your time, your efforts, in addition to the material solidarity of donating reparations. So definitely, and speaking of that, do check out our website at uhurusolidarity.org and find out all the ways to do that. You can sign up to volunteer with us. You can, become a member today. And also, we're going to tell you about a couple other exciting things here. And we may have already mentioned, I think we did, that people can join the Reparations Investment Company, actually. And so there's a link for that. It's the tinyurl.com/reparations investment company. And it looks like, Dylan, it might be live. I'm not sure. Woo.
It might be on now. Oh my gosh, this is so exciting.
We're almost transitioning to where we're going to show you the Harris property. So,
Uhuru.
Oh, there we hear it.
Uhuru, can you hear us?
Yes.
Yes.
All right.
Beautiful.
All right, Uhuru, Kara. Let's give a round of applause to Kara and Virginia for holding it down for us while everybody came over here. Salute to everybody. I know we were getting close to 18,000. I just want to start this off by saying I'm pledging 1,000 to today's Days of Reparations pledge.
Uhuru.
We just need 11 people to match me, and we'll meet our goal today. 11 people to match me at $1,000. Go to uhurusolidarity.org/pay-reparations and contribute towards reparations in action. And that is exactly what we're about to look at, talk about, and see in reality here. We are here at 2110 Harris on the north side, the first renovations project of the Reparations Investment Company. And we're here with the chairman and deputy chair and people with Alderman Jesse Todd and all of our comrades, Chairwoman Penny, Uhuru, and everybody who's out here today with us. And before we go into the building and show you this incredible institution of the Reparations Investment Company, I just want to let people know, I know we announced this campaign at the USM convention. At the time, we were in the process of seeing this property actually be acquired by the Reparations Investment Company. Now it is official. This is the first property of the Reparations Investment Company, which is a dynamic, innovative, brilliant new program under the leadership of the chairman and deputy chair to bring the Black Power Blueprints process of transforming the Northside to another dimension, to another level. And in this way, to have those of us in the white community who normally use the stolen resources and skills that we have access to as contractors, as electricians, as carpenters, as roofers, as all of these kinds of things, to facilitate the process of gentrification, displacement of the African community, to turn that right side up and to instead turn over those skills and resources towards the process of African people controlling the real estate in their neighborhoods, controlling what happens with the properties in their neighborhoods, and rebuilding, staying in their neighborhoods and building self-empowerment in their communities. And this location is significant because, as you can see, the neighboring building right here, you can see the devastation, not just caused by the tornado, which made things even worse, but the devastation of decades of the let it rot policy of the Team 4 plan, the colonial plans that the Rand Corporation and city officials put in place to deliberately allow and cause the North Side to deteriorate so they could push the African community out. And as the chairman says, facilitate a process of attempting to turn St. Louis into a majority white city. And you can see across the street here in the beautiful park, all of the trees that had to be cut down, that were knocked down by that tornado that hit this community on May 16th of this year. So it is right in the heart of all of this. that the Uhuru movement, the Reparations Investment Company, is reclaiming the community and rebuilding the community. And this project right here, you can see the sign over here. The Reparations Investment Company is on the ground. Its flag has been planted. And this, again, is the first renovations project on Harris. So I want to make sure we're getting a full view of the building before we head in.
Did we get that?
This building is a fourplex. We're going to go inside. We'll want to let everyone know, this building is going to go through a deputy chair style transformation. Right now, there's some holes in the floor. Stairway can feel a little rickety at times, so we want everyone to be very careful going up in there. It's a little dusty, so we want to just ask everyone to exercise caution as we go in. And again, what we're talking about today is how everybody who's involved in this conference today can get involved in making this happen. We've got 5 teams to build the Reparations Investment Company that we're going to be putting out and calling on you to be a part of. First, we have a special announcement we wanted to make. Well, we're going to bring people up. Join us up here. Make sure we get the sign. Meanwhile, donations keep coming in.
Oh, great.
Multitasking here. There was $100 from Johan's dad and stepmother.
Oh,
Her. We're good right here.
okay.
So what the first thing I wanted to do is to announce that in the spirit of the way that the Black Power Blueprint, such as the African Independence Workforce Program housing, named some of the apartments after named its apartments after significant African former political prisoners. This building is named for 5 very significant African figures in the history of St. Louis, the history of Missouri, who represent the struggle of African people for self-determination. And we wanted to start by acknowledging that, well, first, let me tell you all of them. We have some information. Thank you to the chairman, by the way, for loaning us this book, Extraordinary Black Missourians. We learned a lot from this. Yes. And let me build up to our special announcement. Why don't I do it that way? So first, I'm going to actually switch with our videographer over here for a second and ask Comrade Dylan to tell us a little bit about the first apartment over here.
Uhuru, I think we're having some technical difficulties, so just wanted to come on here and yep, looks like we're coming back on.
Uhuru.
Uhuru, we can hear you.
Okay, could you hear us before?
No, we couldn't hear you for about like maybe a minute.
Okay, the phone we were using overheated.
Because it's hot.
So yes, so we're back now. We're back
Okay.
now, and actually we're gonna switch gear a little bit here. You can take that.
Okay.
And I wanted to announce. I'll say quickly just who the apartments are named after. Moses Dixon, who was an African and formerly enslaved African man who worked to plot a revolution to overturn the enslavement of African people. He was born in 1824 and he died in 1901. He's referred to here as a Moses who fought to liberate his people. And then we also have,
What did he do?
what did he do? Okay, I'll tell you. So one night in 1846, 13 men met in a house on the southeast corner of Green and 7th Streets in St. Louis to plot a revolution. Led by the Reverend Moses Dixon, a Cincinnati native and a free black man who observed the evils of slavery during a tour of the South in the early 1840s. The men founded a group known as the Knights of Liberty. The Knights sought to end slavery through armed engagement. All right.
I've never heard. That's amazing.
Yeah, so that was 170, how many thousand people? They were made that, okay.
It would
Go ahead.
150,000. He planned to send 150,000 or more armed men into Atlanta, Georgia.
Yeah.
Wow.
Wow. So Uhuru to Moses Dixon.
Uhuru.
And Moses Dixon lives at the Harris property of the
Right.
Reparations Investment
Right.
Company. We also have one of the apartments named for Callie House, born 1861 and died in 1928. She was a fighter for reparations to African people.
Wow.
After the Civil War and the 13th Amendment was adopted, she launched one of the first campaigns that was referred to as the National Ex-Slave Mutual Relief Bounty and Pension Association in 1898. And she came under attack by the U.S. government in a very similar fashion as Marcus Garvey, charges of mail fraud and things like that. But her memory lives on, her legacy lives on here at the Harris property. And we learned a lot about them earlier today. The next apartment is named for Dred and Harriet Scott.
Yeah.
Dred and Harriet Scott, who refused to give up. They fought every inch of the way against the U.S. government in fighting for the right of African people to be free. And so these four, yes, oh yes, Uhuru. These four significant African leaders in the history of St. Louis are physically no longer with us, but their struggle and their legacy lives on. But the final apartment is named for a living legend of African struggle here in the city of St. Louis. We're very honored to have him here with us as we make this special announcement that the fourth apartment of the Harris property, the first renovations project of the Reparations Investment Company, is named for none other than the People's Alderman, Jesse Todd.
All right.
It couldn't be more fitting. Moses Dixon, Callie House, Dred and Harriet Scott live on in Jesse Todd. And
I agree. I just think that's extremely important, because we punctuate that history with this living example of somebody, as I mentioned earlier in our conference, who opened the door for much of what we're talking about today. Even this, Jesse Todd opened the door for the Todd plan and all the work that he's done, not just the Todd plan, but even all the other organizations that he was involved in for African freedom. So yeah, it's really important. Yeah, I'm glad we did that. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Chairman and Madam DCO. I really appreciate it. Well, thank you so much.
People's Alderman. All right, so we are going to...
I think it's important, a living example.
Yes.
The struggle is alive. It's not something that happened a long time ago.
Yes.
I just think it's really important that, and especially what we were talking about in the conference today, that there are all kinds of efforts being made now by a social system that's really concerned about the demographic changes that's happening here and around the world, especially in colonies, settler colonies, because a settler colony cannot tolerate the growth of the population of the colonized or anybody other than settlers. So I just think it's really important to be able to identify, Comrade Yeshitela and the role that he continues to play, has played and continues to play up to now. So Uhuru.
Thank you.
Yeah. I think it's real. Yeah.
Jesse, if there's anything else you'd like to say,
the
floor is yours.
I just feel so humbled. I want to thank the Uhuru movement again, and as well as the chairman and the deputy chair, all of the members. And I really appreciate it from the bottom of my heart. And I feel so humbled. Really, the Uhuru movement has done so much to teach me and about what can be done. And even I had to plan for more than 40 years, but the Uhuru movement came in and not only stood with the plan, but implemented the plan. So I really, and then this is going to be a people's movement. Yes. This is the movement. I was asked once when I first started working with the Uhuru movement, I think I was just a regular member. I'm a full lifetime member now. And they asked me, how can you set up a machine? Well, this is a machine. I mean, this is what a machine looks like. It's serving the people. Yeah. It's taking these vacant buildings that's been here for years. It's falling down.
Yes.
And putting it to use. In 5 years, this building would be falling down. It would be falling down. Right. And this is the purpose.
Yeah.
This is the purpose of the city. Is to, first of all, to say, look, these people don't want anything. Look how they let their property go. Yeah. This is what they do. They take property, and some of the residents, they take it, they cite the residents, they have all these code violations, they take the property. We're the last hired in the first fire. We make less than anyone. We have very little generational wealth, as it was mentioned in the by many of the comrades, the committee comrades. And then they take, and then now they're trying to drive us out of the community. But it's the Uhuru Solidarity movement, and it's the Uhuru African People's Solid Committee, and it's the chairman and DC owner leading this movement. And all of the other people that is making a difference. And that is why we were put on trial. We present, we're a problem for the leadership, for the bourgeois leadership. Yeah. We're a problem for the white leadership. We're a problem for the developers because and most of the other bourgeoisies, because I'm a retired teacher. Yeah. We're a problem for we're a problem for teachers too. I mean, preachers, teachers, and all other kind of so-called principals. They're supposed to be the whole leaders. Yeah. But look what they left. They left a bunch of vacant buildings. Then we wonder why schools closed down. Well, they're gonna run the people out, the students out. And guess what's gonna happen then? Then the schools are gonna close down. They're gonna bring use that as propaganda. And then take over, and then they will be looking at the park, looking out at this beautiful park. But guess what? Now we're gonna have African working class people looking out at the beautiful park, and this whole block. I can see in the future where this whole block would be clear, like West Florissant is getting cleared up now. Yeah. Then we're gonna have the whole block cleared up. Yes. And this is what Black Power look like.
This is what it looks like.
And this is the blueprint. All right. Right on. Thank you so much.
Uhuru.
Thank you. Just enough. Proud to share the name. All right. Proud to share with you too, comrades.
Uhuru. All right. So on that note, we're gonna go inside and check out the apartments. And I just want to appreciate what Chairman said, what Deputy Chair said, what People's Alderman Jesse Todd said. And this Reparations Investment Company is an anti-gentrification project. It's anti-displacement. It's anti-colonial. It's the anti-Team 4 plan. And it is pro-self-determination. It is pro-reparations. It is pro-Black power. And people have asked us, well, what's going to happen with these properties? There is a particular vision for this property in terms of renovating it into 4 apartments that can be rented. And those are resources that are then available to generate more and more programs of the Black Power blueprint and all the work of the Uhuru movement. But the real answer is that whatever the African working class determines is what will happen with these properties. And that's the real point of the Reparations Investment Company, is the African community reclaiming control of the property and land in their communities that has been stolen from them, that has been deliberately attacked and underdeveloped, if you will, to facilitate their removal, their forcible removal. So that's what this is about. Reparations Investment Company. And I want to remind people, I don't have my phone anymore, so I can't see my text messages, but you can continue to donate at uhurusolidarity.org/pay-reparations. There's going to be a lot of resources needed for this building. And I want to say one more thing before we head in. You can donate, but you can also invest. And I was thinking about this earlier when we were hearing from Chairwoman Penny about the history of Wall Street, and even the concept of investment is drenched in blood and slavery. Investing in the banks, which themselves are built on the stolen resources of African people to make more and more money for white people. This is the opposite of that. White people who have access to those stolen resources can actually invest them in the Reparations Investment Company. Let's say you have $50,000, $100,000, but it's something that you're not able to fully donate at that time. You can invest it in the Reparations Investment Company, facilitate the ability for more and more development and renovations and property acquisition to happen. And then those resources will be returned to you at a certain point. And that investment contributes towards an expansion of the capacity of the African community to have self-determination, to have self-government. And that is the most brilliant thing I've ever heard. And that's Deputy Chair and Chairman's brilliant vision, to take everything about this and turn it into something that uplifts the African community and contributes to the self-determination of the African community. So we're going to be talking more about how you can all be a part of this, but that's one of the main ways you can invest. You can invest and donate to the Reparations Investment Company, specifically for this property. The first thing we got to do with this property is fix the roof. And we got quotes that could be $15,000 or more to fix the roof. One person could invest that, one person can donate that. And you can contact us, info@uhurusolidarity.org, if you're interested in doing that. But let's go inside and take a look. This is an amazing building, by the way. Amazing building.
Dark in it.
All right, so a little dark in here.
Yeah.
Masks, yes, and we do have masks. No mask? Okay. All right, so we're in the Moses Dixon apartment now. It's pretty dark in here, but you can take a look around. So this is on the left side, the bottom apartment. Very spacious. And this building was also damaged by the tornado, by the way. On one of the many amazing volunteer days, mass volunteer mobilizations that the Black Power Blueprint and the African People's Education and Defense Fund hosted, some of the volunteers came here and boarded up, I think, 8 different windows that had been damaged in the tornado. So this was, right in the neighborhoods that were affected by it. And I'm not sure how much people online can see because it's pretty dark in here.
Coming up pretty well.
Oh, it is?
Yep.
Okay, good. All right.
Yeah, watch out.
There are holes in the floor.
There are holes in the floor. Everyone be very careful. So there's another little room back here. Very dark in here.
Yeah, it's a bit dark back there.
Yeah, this looks like it would be a little kitchen back here.
Oh, there's a spider web right there. No, I'm okay.
So we can come back this way. And as we're going through these apartments, I just want to say, again, I mentioned this earlier, but fixing the roof is number one. We need donors and investors for that. We're looking at possible quotes of $15,000 for fixing the roof. That's number one. That's priority. We need to get that done right away, fixing the roof. There is some demolition that will be required, scraping down the walls. That would be another priority. We can actually go. Let's go upstairs. Yeah. Go ahead. So now we're going to head up to 2110 apartment 2 or B. much better lit up here. Let's see. Go in front of me. Show. So we're heading up the stairs now. Second floor. Oh yeah. Oops. Glad that wasn't on camera. Yep. So, okay, one thing I want people to see, people are coming up. You know, this is reminding me of, people have probably seen some of the videos and pictures of how the Uhuru House looked when the Black Power Blueprint first acquired that building on 4101 West Florissant Ave. Much like this. You know, holes in the floor, things hanging from the ceiling, no roof really. Like there were lots of issues with that building. And, you know, a lot of people might walk into that building and say, I don't see how this could ever be an Uhuru House. But Deputy Chair is defined, among many other things, by her brilliant visionary capacity to see beyond what's in front of her, to be able to see the possibilities that are enabled by African self-determination. And that's what the vision that I have in my mind when I look around this building. It's an incredible shell of what it is going to be. And it's an amazing location. By the way, look at the view. Right across from the park. Very beautiful. And, you know, the view of the park right now is a view of the devastation caused by the tornado as well. You can see the little pond over there. Oh, yeah. Yeah, look at that. Nice little balcony out here.
The balcony?
Yeah.
Oh, man. Just sitting here.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, look at
Exactly.
it. Uhuru movement, just see a jewel, you know a jewel when you see one.
Exactly.
People let it fall down and, you know.
Absolutely.
And there was all the trees were up when we first looked at this building.
Oh,
yeah.
It was gorgeous, and then all the egrets over there.
Yeah, it's a beautiful view. And
Black Power Blueprint had two carpenters volunteering with us yesterday, and they were commenting on the houses that they were working on, saying they can't rebuild houses like this anymore for people to be able to afford to live in because it's such high quality.
wow.
So, and you can just tell, I mean, these windows alone,
Yep.
the round part on the top and molding all the way around is huge. These are, you can't, yeah, I mean, every bit of it.
Yeah.
But they were really saying, you know, you can't find it anywhere anymore.
Wow. Thank you for sharing that, Stephanie. That's helpful and important to know. And in terms of some of the things that will be happening in here in this property, that I'm not listing just things to do. These are things we're going to do as the Uhuru Solidarity Movement. This is our plan of action now. This is our main campaign. Everybody in USM, everywhere, in all of the 130 cities, is being enlisted to be a part of this. And I want to be specific that people can be involved from anywhere. There's going to be a lot of different aspects to this. One of the things is getting in-kind donations of materials, of labor, volunteers, other kind of things like that, as well as additional property acquisition. That's something people can be involved in remotely. Promotions, there's a lot of other things people can be involved in remotely. But also, the party is calling on people to come to St. Louis. Come to St. Louis. Come for a while or stay. Move to St. Louis. This is where it's happening. This is the front lines of the anti-colonial struggle right now. And it's not just words, it's practical. It's happening in the here and now, right in this building. And everyone in USM is going to be embraced into the Reparations Investment Company as the cornerstone of our reparations work moving forward. And it's going to be an exponential leap for the Uhuru Solidarity Movement. So we're all very excited about it. And specifically what it's going to entail, as I mentioned, fixing the roof, some demolition. You can see the need for.
Careful.
Oh my. Yes, I am one of the people who fell through the floor of the Uhuru House in the very beginning. So thank you, Stephanie. Yeah. I was right back, and that would be quite a twist. So you can see there's going to be wall scraping needed. There's going to be the need for the installation of initial electrical and sewer lines to be fixed. Securing the floors. How apropos. Securing the floors and subfloors, all doors and windows. windows, securing those, designing and getting architectural drawings and permits. Are you an architect who would like to volunteer to draw up architectural plans and help to secure permits for this building? We call on you to be a part of this, to contact us, email info@uhurusolidarity.org, or let us know in the chat if you're watching and we'll be in touch with you. But yes, the designing, the architectural drawings and permits, framing is going to be necessary, roughing in all of the systems, plumbing, HVAC, a term I now can use casually thanks to the Uhuru movement, electrical, putting in windows. I mean, we'll see. I mean, the reason it was so dark in that one down there is because we had to board up all the windows. So putting in windows, drywall, taping the walls, painting the walls. That part's really fun. All of it's fun, but painting the walls is really exciting. Putting in flooring, fixtures for the plumbing, HVAC and electrical. And then of course, the final touches, the final Black Power blueprint style flourishes that will make this property absolutely irresistible. So we can just take another quick look at the windows up here and the rest of this area over here. And then we'll take everybody into the Dred and Harriet Scott apartment next door. And then we'll close out with the Jesse Todd apartment. All right, so we're gonna head back downstairs. Again, we're coming to you live from 2110 Harris, the north side of St. Louis, the first renovations project of the Reparations Investment Company under the leadership of the African People's Socialist Party and the Uhuru movement. People have seen for the past almost 10 years the transformation on the north side. Okay, gotta be careful here. Led by Deputy Chair Onizane, Black Power Blueprint is unique because it is a program for political and economic power in the hands of the African working class. The Reparations Investment Company is an extension of the party's work to build political and economic power in the hands of the African working class. So we need donors, we need investors, we need volunteers, we need contractors, roofers, electricians, architects, painters, skilled and unskilled volunteers. Everybody, anybody can play a role in making this happen. So this is the second floor of 2112 Harris. You can see very beautiful open space here. And the imagination of what will be in this building once we get to work is limitless. It's very exciting. Through. And you know what? Let's go one more.
Extra careful here.
Yeah, extra careful there. Thank you. So be very careful up here because it would be the longest drop so far.
I want you guys to stay.
Yeah. So
That's
we'll stay back here for now. It's a little dicey up here, but yeah, this is the third floor, and we were up here in May.
Have you come this way so that anyone else?
Boarding up the windows, securing the property after the tornado devastation, and now just a few months later, we're ready to get to work renovating this property so that it can become a resource of economic development for the African community. Anti-gentrification, reverse gentrification, self-determination for African people. That's what this is about. So last but not least, we are going into, with the people's alderman himself, the apartment named for Comrade Jesse Todd. That's the wrong one. Perfect. Go ahead. So far, my phone's not overheating. That's good. Everybody good? Okay.
Bit dark in here.
All right. So here we are in the apartment named for the People's Alderman, Jesse Todd. There was some serious boarding up that had to happen on these windows after the tornado. And for anyone who's tuning in right now and thinking, what is happening in this national conference? Where are they? What are they doing? Well, first of all, thank you for joining us. And secondly, we are at 2110 Harris Ave in the north side of St. Louis, in the heart of the African community. It's an honor to be here. We're here as members of the Uhuru Solidarity Movement, organizing in the white community under the leadership of the African People's Socialist Party. Our assignment is reparations to African people. Reparations are owed to African people, and reparations is not just turning over resources in the form of dollars, although that is very important. It is also turning over resources in the form of the land, the real estate, the skills, the energy that is concentrated in the white community as a consequence of hundreds of years of colonial exploitation. So again, this has never been done before. This is a visionary breakthrough that takes reparations and material solidarity to an elevated level where it goes beyond just one event raising money like we're doing right now. It goes beyond that. It turns it into something that actually contributes to the development of the independent African economy. Having these properties developed, fixed up, and in the hands of the African working class so that the African working class can determine how they can best be used to generate resources within their community is part of like what the chairman says, keeping the resources circulating within the African community. It's commerce, real estate, by and for African people, between African people. And it's an incredible project. And we have a specific role in it because when you look at the north side and you see the devastation, not just of the tornado, but of colonialism itself, white people were not innocent bystanders. And we played a role in it. We do play a role in it, not only by benefiting from it, but as the gentrifiers, whether it's just by moving into the African community or whether it's by actively participating in the theft of properties, in the decimation of the African community to build up wealth and prosperity for white people. So this is turning that right side up. This is making it possible for white people who have gained all of these skills on the pedestal to turn those skills over as an investment in building a whole new kind of relationship. It changes the relationship between the white population and the African population, between the South Side and the North Side. This is the Del Mar divide killer, the Reparations Investment Company. It's about getting rid of the Del Mar divide so the North Side can have all of the prosperity that belongs to it, that it has rightfully earned, and which is its birthright and to which it is entitled. So that's what this is about. And we're in here. This is very special because here's People's Alderman Jesse Todd, and we are in the Jesse Todd apartment. Uhuru.
Yeah, well, I'm so grateful and so glad that the Uhuru movement and the African People's Solidarity Committee, as well as the under the leadership of the African People's Socialist Party, look, I'm so glad to see that the North Side, with all it has always had this potential, and that you're bringing this potential back. I remember when I was a kid, we used to ride over here. These houses, I mean, I know what it looked like, and I know what will be done under the leadership of the African People's Socialist Party and the Uhuru movement, as well as the African People's Solidarity movement. So as I just said, though, one thing you can't do, move to St. Louis.
Yes.
This should be, and it could be the movement that would turn colonialism around. It would turn gentrification around. This is an example. This is what people need to do. This can be the launching pad for African independence. And this is what's holding, this is what they tried to destroy, defeated in the 60s, and Chairman Omali brought it back. But this is what they tried to destroy. This is what independence looked like. This is what keeping the police from killing the chairman with the Uhuru Solidarity Movement and the Uhuru Solidarity Committee being there, what I believe, this is just my opinion, kept him alive when they came there at 4 o'clock, because they came there to do the same thing they did to Fred Hampton. That's my opinion. I don't know. But I know, but I know that this presents a problem for the establishment. This presents a problem for the city, state, and federal government. Because that thing is to invest more in containment, invest more in police, instead of invest more in the people. Because we had the resources, but once we have independence, we're gonna be able to wrestle those resources from them. This is a political statement, not just a statement. This is politics, and this is St. Louis politics. Once we're successful and we put good houses, a good house like this next to an abandoned house over there that's been abandoned for years, we're showing them it's the negligence of the Democratic political leaders, because this is a Democratic town. I'm not pro-Republican or any of those capitalist parties. But what I'm saying is that this excuse that's been made over and over again, there isn't anything we can do about it because they tear the neighborhood up themselves. So right here with this investment, this independent investment shows that it's not the people who don't want it, it's the leadership. And from here, we can develop new leadership that will show the way. Because the old leadership we have, even though it's African, it's not leading. The proof is in the pudding. And this is the difference. But that's why, as Chairman Nevel said, that's why if you can't move to St. Louis, you should send some money to St. Louis to get this building fixed up. And that's how politics spread. That's how we protect the St. Louis people and the movement that are here. Because once we get the support of the people, once we have the support of the people and they know what we're doing, then they can't stop it. Because what they did in the past with COINTELPRO, they demonized it, said that we were a bunch of white people hating, dangerous, violent. This has nothing to do with violence. This has something to do with fixing up our community. The violence is coming from the city government. The violence is when we put half of the money in public safety, and then we had the federal government sending some more, so the army down there. We had the state. Now the state took over the police department. Now the state is pro. We have one of the most conservative governors that I know of in my lifetime. Even before I couldn't vote, I was in the politics, Black Power politics. But the point is, he's the most conservative, in my opinion, that is in my lifetime, that's in Missouri. But the point is, the state took over the police just a few months, a month ago, because that's when it became law in August, last month, because even though he took over earlier, laws are signed by the governor in August. So he took over this August, and he's a pro Donald Trump man. I mean, he's pro. He's even redistricting and taking out a black U.S. representative right in the middle of the term. We usually don't redistrict every 10 years. Every 10 years we do it after the census is counted. But he's coming in doing it to make sure that the Democrats don't, that the Republicans continue to control the U.S. House and Senate. But the point I'm making is that our fight is always, we know that containment doesn't work. We know the true way to prevent crime. We know that the true way to prevent crime, first of all, give people an alternative to all forms of drugs, something to do. But all forms of drugs, whether it's legal or illegal drugs, and not call any kind of drug recreation. Where we had this big old park across the street, that's recreation. Not smoking weed, not drinking, not doing anything. If a person is legal, but still that's not recreation. That's it has their cost. But the point is, this is the way forward in St. Louis. And once we take over St. Louis, and show people that they're the real alternative. Right. And once we are able to speak independent, because what happened is most of the Black politicians in North St. Louis, they're puppets. Let's just be honest, they're just puppets of the whites, and they do their bidding and run like the devil to try and do their bidding. And they carry the ball, and what happens is they go back to the community and say, look, there's nothing we can do. In fact, if you try to do something, they fight you. I've been in some political fights, not because that they were running against me for something that I was doing to harm the community. As far as they're concerned, when I ran, I'm talking about personal experience. When I ran the election, I beat them. But when I ran election, there was not one issue they've ever raised about what I didn't do for the people. Not one time in one election. And when in the particular what I was working in, winning 6 elections and losing none, there was never one time they raised the issue about how I was negligent about the people. Their issue was that I was waking up the people, telling them, let sleeping dogs lie. They just don't want you to, wake the people up. Just get yours and keep you get yours, and then retire and be quiet, and that you're not a team player unless you do that. And a team player, as far as the Black bourgeoisie in St. Louis is concerned, a team player is somebody who make excuses for downtown, who allow downtown to make a lot of money off the community. Let's say like when they brought in this NGA, when McKee, we had a McKee. Yep. When we had people out at Lamont Airport, were ready to turn over the whole airport to him, and they were gonna get a few peanuts, even though they did end up in prison. But the point is, you have those type of Black leaders when they get peanuts, but then they convince the masses, and they have influence with the masses. Well, they have, what it is that once you hold office, you have a platform, but then they shut out everybody else and demonize them. Like the best example again is when the Uhuru movement was attacked. Guy came to me, I won't call his name, elected official. He was trying to tell me, well, they working for Russia. I just told him, I've been in the Black Power movement all my life. I know who they working for. Right. So he was trying to, I know him, he was trying to, tell me about some Russian. I just told him, no, that's not true. They're working for the community. Mm-hmm. But I mean, he never brought it to me again. But what is the point? The point is about he wanted to get me on that Russian thing, and I knew he wasn't going to change, so I didn't argue with him about Russia hasn't made us into slaves, because some people I don't waste my time with arguing, but I did explain that the Uhuru movement worked for the people, for African people, but I didn't waste my time with him trying to convince him that of anything else, because of the fact that he's been he's been in their pocket for so long. Till it's been a waste of his time and my time to try to convince, but I told him the truth. So the point is that, but they do have a platform, they do have a lot of resources, but thanks to the Uhuru movement, the African People's Socialist Party itself, yes, and the community on an independent basis is getting resources, and yes, then that's the way the working class, it's gonna take the working class. That's who it's gonna take, the African working class leading this movement. And white people's, it's in white people's interests. Yes. The people who are listening today, and they talk about safety. Tell them we're gonna make the cities, you're not gonna make anything safe until we give everyone who wants a job, and have alternative activities, fix up these communities, yes, and give people something, alternative activities to what they are doing now, which isn't anything, and then scaring people so people won't even come outside of the house. Yeah. And then that leads to bad health, mental and physical health, and other things like that. So it actually is harmful, and then the only public works program we have right now for African people, they sell drugs as they continue to pull money out, and the white working class, and when the Democrats cry about how the Republicans took over in Missouri, well, naturally they're gonna take over when you lock up your most loyal base, which was the black Democrats. They locked, now they in prison, now the dumb Democrats wondering where my voters are. Well, you got them locked up. And then the whites turn Republican. Now they vote, they get jobs, get the jobs that your constituency should have. And now you're wondering why you don't have the vote to block anything, and then wonder why the voters don't come out. They don't allow prisoners out to vote in Missouri, dummy. I mean, then they got a bunch of them locked up in the city. We pay $30,000 a year for every person. If a person stays in jail a year, we pay $30,000. If we gave a person $15,000, they wouldn't have to give them that much. And we wouldn't really. If we just gave them food, shelter, clothing, medical care, and a small allowance, crime would just plummet. Because the people who are in jail, most of them, and give them some treatment for drugs and alternative things to do, it would drop by 90%. 90%. So people would be safer, but we can't get the message out because we don't have, but we're getting it out. I heard we have this building, we have other buildings, we have a radio station, we got the,
that's right.
And we also had the Burning Spear. Right. And so we had the Uhuru movement, all our other friends. Yeah. Once we get the message out, you'll see more and more people coming over, and we'll see less violence. We will implement what I love about Chairwoman Hess's book. We will overturn the culture of violence. So we're not talking about any violence whatsoever. We're trying to overturn the culture of violence and bring in a more beautiful community. I like it when someone's upstairs looking out at the park and saying how beautiful that park is. Yeah. That's what we don't want violence. We want beauty in our community, like everyone else wants in their community. There isn't anything different about you wouldn't be able to tell the difference in us and anyone else because of our skin tone. In fact, they say a third of the people who say they're white are darker than a third of the people who say they're black as far as the ethnic group of the slaves within that. So we wouldn't be any different. The difference is that how we are treated in the wealth gap. Right. That's in the wealth gap in our history. So there isn't any difference in what we want than anyone else wants. We don't want raggedy houses and vacant buildings falling down around us. We want a beautiful park like everyone else. And so thank you all so much for making the park beautiful, making this building beautiful. And we're going to continue pushing until we overturn the culture of violence and overturn colonialism and get rid of gentrification. And that's what we're going to do.
Uhuru. Right. Well, the walls of the Jesse Todd apartment will forever reverberate with that powerful speech. Thank you so much. Thank you. That was incredible. Thank you so much. And I just want to close out this by thanking everybody who's been tuning in. I know we're going to go back to our MCs for some closing announcements, but it's been an amazing day of reparations to African people. I don't know where we're at with the fundraising because my phone is being used for this because the other one overheated. So before this one overheats, before we overheat, we're going to close this down. But I just want to let people know that this is the work of USM now. We are jumping right in starting today. And we have 5 teams that we want to call on every single member of the Uhuru Solidarity Movement, no matter where you're located, to take some time right now. Go to tinyurl.com/reparations investment company and sign up for 1 or 2 or all of the teams that are going to be launched in the next week or so to make the reparations investment company a reality. Those teams include the property renovation team for this very property, the Harris property, that we need people who can manage projects like this. We need people who have skilled and unskilled labor to contribute. Let's say you've never done anything like this before, but you want to learn. You want to be a part of making this renovation campaign happen, doing the kind of stuff that I was mentioning earlier. That's a team you could sign up for. And I will be in touch with you when you sign up about the follow-up meeting happening within the next week. We also have the reparations promotions team that will be led by Comrade Dylan, who's behind the camera right now. That's going to include social media. That's going to include media. We need to get this renovations campaign on all the media, local, national, international media needs to be talking about the reparations investment company, needs to be talking about the transformation happening on the North Side as a result of the work of the Uhuru movement and the Black Power blueprint. So media, political actions. This is not just about renovations in and of itself. This is a political campaign to take this out into the world. So we want to do political actions, bold political actions, to take the question of reparations out into the white community in a deeper way than we've ever done before. Faith-based outreach. We're going to church. We're going to temple. We're going anywhere we can to talk to other white people about supporting the reparations investment company. So you can join that team. You can join the Donors and Investors Development Campaign. Let's say you want to donate. Let's say you want to invest. You can join this team under the leadership of Comrade Kara. But let's say you want to help reach out to people who might donate, reach out to people who might invest. You want to do some research. There's white people in this city who have gone public recently about their ancestors having owned enslaved African people, and they want to do something about it. We got to find them. We got to meet them. We got to bring them here. We got to show them this is what the true rectification of that legacy looks like, the Reparations Investment Company. We have a grants team. You can join that. Write grants, research grants. You can help secure in-kind donations. Again, you can do this stuff from wherever you're located. The fourth team is the outreach and recruitment. Comrade Indigo is going to be heading that up. That's going to include mass outreach, tabling, drops, door-to-door, canvassing, holding events, holding teach-ins, doing all kinds of mass outreach, and most importantly, building the Uhuru NTU volunteer program as the center of how we organize. We're going to need literally hundreds, if not thousands, of volunteers to participate in the work needed for this building and the other buildings that the Reparations Investment Company is going to be renovating. And we have to adopt and build the NTU volunteer program to coordinate volunteers, to find groups, student groups, other organizations, and do mass volunteer recruitment to bring everybody that we can into this process to play a role in it. And last but not least, Giving Tuesday this year, December 2nd, our annual Giving Tuesday 24-hour reparations telethon will be all about the Reparations Investment Company. Comrade Brendan is coordinating that. That's such a fun project to coordinate that telethon, to coordinate that campaign, to help book speakers, musicians, poets, artists, 24 hours of revolutionary culture and political education. And you can sign up for any one of those 5 teams by going to tinyurl.com/reparationsinvestmentcompany. Continue to donate. uhurusolidarity.org/pay-reparations. The Reparations Investment Company is live, is on. We're going to make it happen. Salute to the leadership of Chairman Omali Yeshitela and Deputy Chair Yeshitela. Salute to all of you for being a part of this. And we're going to turn it back over to Kara. But first, we're going to say unity through reparations.
Reparations.
Uhuru.
Uhuru. Thank you so much, Jesse. That was incredible. We got to see the Uhuru Paris property firsthand. And just want to say that we have now a total of $19,125 that goes towards our pledge of $30,000. And that is incredible. That is just, we are so close. Pretty much $10,875 left to go to make our pledge of $30,000. And just wanted to shout out Lisa, who donated 90 when we were asking, we need 90 more to go. Lisa heard that and donated. Johan, we mentioned, and his dad and stepmom donated 100. Amazing. Get your family and friends to donate. All you got to do is ask. And $25 from Melissa. So again, the total so far is $19,125. And we're just so thankful that you came today, be a part of this, and be a part of reparations, and because it is truly unity through reparations. And I believe we have some announcements. I know I do want to shout out some of these comments that were in the chat on Zoom. Claudette Tucker, she said, this issue is awesome. Are there any books that can be recommended for further reading? And I believe Johan, our chat moderator, put in that, yes, there's the Overturning the Culture of Violence by Chairwoman Penny Hess. And we have so many books written by the chairman. Uneasy Equilibrium is one of my favorites, but they're all really amazing. How I Became a Revolutionary. You can go online and go to Burning Spear and find that information. And Virginia, I see you came on. Did you want to say anything?
Yeah, I just want to really just salute this event and all the comrades who are taking part in it, but also I didn't know if you wanted a little help making the announcements or not.
Yes, I do need a little help making the announcements. I do want to say these last two comments from Ann Hirsch, who is a longtime member, amazing comrade out in Ecuador. Uhuru, solidarity and reparations are a powerful, positive action in this time of horrific results of the start of the USA, which was genocide and enslaving people. And that's exactly true. And also, Anne said, yeah, let's get rid of the Del Mar divide. She was commenting on how Jesse mentioned that the Del Mar divide literally divides the white community from the African community, wealth and poverty. And she says, support the Reparations Investment Corporation. And so announcements, I'm going to turn that over. Oh, I see them down below, but Virginia, would you like to go ahead and make those?
Yeah, I can make those now. I don't know if we have them on any slides. Oh, it looked like somebody was trying to.
They're on the program.
Oh, I know where I put them in the program, but I didn't know if there was slides. If we have any slides, or if I should share my screen, if I should just say them. So
I guess just go ahead.
Yeah. So we want to thank everyone for joining us today. We have some announcements, and that is in the USM Puget Sound local meeting happens on Wednesday, 9/17, and that usually happens on the third Wednesdays. Somebody is, if somebody could let me read these before they change anything. And then coming up on Thursday, September 18th, we have two things. Number one, there's going to be the Hands Off Uhuru special event. The Uhuru 3 appeal fights for free speech precedent. It's going to be Thursday, September 18th from 7 to 8:30 p.m. Eastern. The Uhuru 3 legal team will lay out the main issues in the recent Uhuru 3 appeal, which was filed in June. And you can register at handsoffuhuru.org/register. Excuse me. And then USM St. Pete is having a very important local meeting that same night, Thursday, September 18th, 6:30 to 8:30 p.m. And you can sign up to attend that via Zoom at tinyurl.com/return the dome. It's about the Take Back the Dome Fight Back, which is in support of the Black community's right to have their land back. And then on Saturday, September 20th, the International People's Democratic Uhuru Movement Convention. It's called Cheers to a Dying Imperialism. I'm sorry, Cheers to a Dying Colonialism. This time till it's won. And that's Saturday and Sunday, the 20th and 21st of this month. It's going to be in Aqualaha at the Uhuru House in St. Louis, and it'll also be live streamed. You can sign up at INPDUM, INPDUM2025.eventbrite.com for the INPDUM convention coming up soon. And then on Thursday, September 25th, the USM Western Region is holding a local meeting, and it is on 4 Thursdays of the month. You can register at tinyurl.com/USM West Coast. Uhuru.
Uhuru, that was a lot.
Yeah.
And everything is now in the chat. So if you missed any of those tiny URLs or places to register, you can just go to the chat and get that. You can also check us out online. And, you know, there's still time to donate. This campaign goes till October. So you know where to go. Let me just say that one more time, because go to uhurusolidarity.org/pay-reparations. And yeah, I believe that pretty much is it for our teach-in. And it was amazing, the Days of Reparations to African People teach-in. has come to a close. Virginia, thank you so much for being one of the MCs today, and everybody else who made this happen. And do you want to say anything before we close out?
I want to say unity through reparations, and let's invest in reparations. Join the reparations investment company. Be a part of leaving your legacy and donate to the Reparations Legacy Project to join USM, uhurusolidarity.org. Yeah, let's get this going. Let's pay reparations and make our legacy a beautiful one. Uhuru.
Uhuru. I think we should close on that note. All right. Uhuru, everyone. Unity through